Chapter 15-17. What made her even angrier was that the other party was prettier than her. As a woman, she could not accept this. Therefore, she stared at the beautiful figure in front of her with a cold, killing intent in her eyes. Only she could become a top genius. No one else was qualified to stand beside her. Miss'll take care of her. Seeing the arrogant girl's expression, two middle-aged women quickly said. Then, they pulled out their swords and rushed forward like ghosts. Things were precious when they were rare. A genius with 7 rays of light was enough. Another genius would only lower the value of a genius. Therefore, for the arrogant girl's position, they had to kill Morong Qingcheng. This attack was very sudden. 2 rays of cold light pierced towards Morong Qingcheng like poisonous snakes. Not only that, the 2 rays of light were aimed at Morong Qingcheng's vital points. What? Someone actually attacked. Seeing this scene, the crowd was shocked. They could not believe that someone dared to attack Morong Qingcheng. She was a top genius with 7 rays of light. She was already a disciple of a subsidiary sect of a sacred ground. Who would dare to attack her at this time? However, things still happened. Morong Qingcheng's expression also changed. Her 7 rays of light had caused a smile to appear on her beautiful face. However, the sudden killing intent caused her expression to darken again. She was not a flower vase. Her talent was extremely high and her strength was not bad. In the Tianmu continent, she was one of the top geniuses. Although she was not used to coming to the true spirit world, she was not someone who could be assassinated by just anyone. With a shout, Morong Qingcheng quickly counterattacked. With a wave of her jade hands, 2 purple palms moved unpredictably and slapped out. Pung pung. 2 shocking sounds were heard. Then, the purple palms fiercely slapped on the 2 rays of cold light, causing them to retreat. Whoosh! The crowd exclaimed. They did not expect that someone would dare to fight in the Azure Moon Square. This was too bold. Sister Morong. In the distance, Shen Jingqiu anxiously shouted. Lin Xian's expression darkened. A trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. He did not expect that someone would dare to assassinate Morong Qingcheng. This was definitely courting death. With a flash, Lin Xian arrived beside Morong Qingcheng in an instant. Are you all right? He asked nervously. Morong Qingcheng shook her head, but she didn't look well either. That was because she had rarely encountered such an assassination attempt. On the martial heaven continent, she was a heavenly daughter. Everyone could only look up to her. But after coming to this vast true spirit world, things changed in an instant. She was no longer that high and mighty princess, nor did she have the strength to crush everything. She was just an ordinary king. Therefore, she was very interested in this test, because she wanted to use this opportunity to enter a good sect and strengthen her own strength. As Lin Xian's woman, she didn't want to be a burden, let alone a vase. She didn't do anything wrong. But the other party wanted to kill her? This made her extremely furious. However, what made her even more furious was that the 2 figures in the sky, who had been pushed back by the purple palm, attacked again. It seemed that they wouldn't give up until they assassinated Morong Qingcheng. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Killing intent appeared in his eyes. The other party was too despicable. They actually attacked again and again. They didn't put him in their eyes at all. In the next instant he attacked as well. A golden sky pung flew out from his palm. It covered the sky and instantly circled in the sky. Its terrifying claws tore through the void like 2 golden mountains, grabbing at the 2 figures in the sky. Courting death. The 2 middle-aged women, Lung He, waved the sharp swords in their hands, and slashed out a shocking long rainbow. However, in front of the golden sky pung, it was useless. Crack! Crack! All the sword chi broke in an instant, but the sky pung's sharp claws were still descending rapidly. Poof! Poof! In the next instant, the 2 middle-aged women were caught and nailed firmly in the void. Ah! The 2 of them screamed. Their expressions were full of fear. They couldn't believe that someone would dare to subdue them in an instant. Time seemed to have stopped. The golden sky pung circled in the sky, stepping on the 2 middle-aged women. The 2 middle-aged women fought back with all their might, but they couldn't move it at all. Instead, they were hit by the rebound force. Their blood was in turmoil, and their bones were trembling. Brat, you dare to touch me? You're dead. The two middle-aged women looked down fiercely. They saw a handsome man standing in front of Morong Qingcheng. The golden sky pung had come from the handsome man's hand. Are you threatening me? Lin Xian sneered. You're just two slaves. How dare you threaten me? You really don't know what's good for you. What did you say? The middle-aged woman screamed. Are you deaf? I said you're a slave. From the looks of it, you must have been ordered to come out by someone. Tell me who gave you the idea. At this moment, the surrounding people were shocked. They didn't expect a battle to take place in Songyue Square. Moreover, they didn't expect Morong Qingqing to be fine. Not only that, but a handsome young man with a strong aura had appeared. In an instant, everyone was watching anxiously. Who do you think you are? How dare you question us? One of the middle-aged women snorted. Brat, let us go if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. You don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian sneered. Then he waved his hand. Suddenly, the golden sky pung shone brightly. Bang! In the next instant, one of the middle-aged women was crushed by the golden sky pung, turning into a bloody mist that splattered in all directions. What? She was killed. Everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe it. That was a one-star king. How could she be killed so easily? Who exactly was this handsome young man? How could he be so powerful? In the sky, the other surviving middle-aged woman screamed. That was because the blood of her companions had sprayed all over her face. Frightening, it was too frightening. She didn't expect that the other party would dare to attack her. Wasn't he afraid of revenge? In the next instant she looked down. However, when she saw the cold light in Lin Xian's eyes, her whole body trembled. That gaze was too terrifying. It was as if it could kill her instantly. At this moment, the middle-aged woman couldn't care less. She screamed, Miss, save me. Humph. Below, the arrogant young woman's face was cold. She had sent two of her subordinates to kill Morong Qingcheng. She had thought that it would be a piece of cake. However, she didn't expect that there would be a change. Moreover, one of her subordinates was killed in an instant. She couldn't accept that. How dare you? Let my people go. Chapter 15:18. Sure enough, it was you. Lin Xian looked at the arrogant girl in front of him. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He had long suspected her, because no one else had a reason to attack. There was only one person who had a reason to attack, and that was the arrogant girl, who had also activated 7 rays of light. Now it seemed that it was indeed so. What? It was actually her? Seeing the arrogant girl, everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect her to be another top prodigy. It seemed that this matter was going to be troublesome. Wasn't she the second miss of the Dong family? Someone exclaimed. What? The Dong family? Everyone exclaimed. The Dong family was a big family in the Dashuan Empire. They were very powerful. For a moment, everyone exclaimed again and again. They looked at the arrogant girl with faces full of shock. Hearing these exclamations, the arrogant girl Dong Qian became even more proud. She was like a proud peacock. She raised her chin high and said coldly, "Did you hear that? If you offend the Dong family, you won't have a good ending. I won't make things difficult for you. Release my people and kneel down to apologize to me. I'll let you leave this place. Otherwise, I'll let you die without a burial ground." Dong Qian had a high and mighty attitude. In her opinion, as long as she mentioned the Dong family, the other party would definitely not dare to find trouble, and would definitely obediently surrender. If it was a martial artist from the Dashuan Empire, perhaps this move would really work. But this time she was wrong, because Lin Xian wasn't someone from the Dashuan Empire. Furthermore, given Lin Xian's character, he would never submit to anyone. Sure enough, Lin Xian sneered. You really have a heart of snakes and scorpions. What's the use of someone like you being talented? In the future, when you grow up, you'll only be a scourge. It's better to get rid of you early. What did you say? Dong Qian was like a cat whose tail was stepped on. She immediately screamed. She was so angry that her whole body trembled. The other party dared to insult her? How was this possible? Was the other party not afraid of death? The surrounding people were also shocked. They thought that the matter was over, but they didn't expect that Lin Xian would dare to fight back. Heavens, could it be that this fellow doesn't know about the Dong family? Could he be from abroad? It's possible. Discussions broke out one after another. They guessed that Lin Xian was not from the Dashuan Empire. Otherwise, he would not have dared to fight back after hearing about the Dong family's reputation. Dong Qian sneered. Humph. So he's just a country bumpkin. Brat, listen carefully. My Dong family is a first-class aristocratic family in the Dashuan Empire. A country bumpkin like you can't afford to offend us. So, I advise you to obediently kneel down and apologize. If I'm in a good mood, I might let you off. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in the entire Dashuan Empire. What Dong family? You're overestimating yourself. Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand. Suddenly, the golden rock in the sky shone again, and crushed the other middle-aged woman into a bloody mist. Boom! A deep sound was heard, and a bloody mist filled the air. What? Killed again? The crowd was shocked and their scalps went numb. They didn't expect the other party to be so decisive that he didn't even care about the Dong family. Dong Qian was so angry that her face turned pale. Brat, you dare to offend my Dong family. You're dead. Dead? I don't think so. You'd better worry about yourself. Lin Xian sneered and walked forward. What do you want? Dong Qian trembled when she saw the other party walking towards her. What do I want? Of course, I want to kill you. Lin Xian's voice was cold, like the god of death. How dare you? My lady is the second daughter of the Dong family. Moreover, she's a top genius who has activated 7 rays of light. You dare to touch my lady? You're dead. The Dong family and all the other sects won't let you off. Seeing Lin Xian walk over, 4 middle-aged women appeared and protected Dong Qian. Dong Qian screamed, Despicable! Despicable? Lin Xian sneered. You're not despicable when you kill someone. I'm just doing the same thing as you. Lin Xian's voice spread clearly in all directions. Hearing this, the crowd fell silent. That's right. If the Dong family's lady hadn't been despicable and attacked first, the other party wouldn't have attacked. Speaking of which, Lin Xian was the victim. What's my status? What's her status? How can we be compared to each other? You bunch of country bumpkins, you should all die. Dong Qian screamed, her eyes full of malice. Is that so? Then let's see who's going to die. Lin Xian's body emitted a dazzling light, and his aura continued to rise. The martial warriors and guards of the Dong family broke out in cold sweat, because the other party's aura was too strong. Haha kid, I finally found you. Just at this critical moment, a maniacal laughter rang out. Following that, countless figures dashed over at high speed. Along with it, there was a monstrous pressure and terrifying energy. In the next moment, dozens of figures descended and appeared in the square. They're from the Zhao family. What? Why are they here? The crowd was shocked when they saw this scene. That's right, these people were martial warriors from the Zhao family. They had been searching for Lin Xian all this time and finally met him here. Kid, how dare you harm my Zhao family? Today is the day you die. Kneel down and accept your death obediently, and I'll leave you with an intact corpse. Haha. I heard that you have 3 beauties by your side. This time, you must bring them back and enjoy them. Kid, this is what you get for messing with the Zhao family. Hearing this, the crowd felt their scalps go numb. They did not expect that Lin Xian and his group had actually messed with the Zhao family. How audacious! The Zhao family and the Dong family were the same. They were both first-rate families in the Dashuan Empire. They were extremely powerful, and no one dared to mess with them. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian had actually messed with 2 first-rate families at the same time. Oof, what a reckless kid. Looks like I don't have to do anything. Your life will be gone. Dong Qian sneered. Isn't this the kid from the Dong family? Why are you here too? The 3 elders of the Zhao family asked. After greeting the 3 elders, Dong Qian quickly bowed and said, This kid is too despicable. He saw that I was talented and wanted to kill me. What? There's such a thing. How audacious. We must kill him today. The Zhao family elder and the Dong family martial warrior grinned and walked forward step by step. Oof, how shameless. Snakes and rats from the same nest. Lin Xian's voice was cold. What happened today? Everyone here saw it. I think it won't be long before the world knows what's right and wrong. So what if they know? By then you'll be a dead man. The Zhao family elder grinned. Who would stand up for a dead man? Moreover, who do you think dares to mess with the Zhao family? Chapter 1519. To be honest, although this matter was troublesome, it wasn't fatal. This was because among the cultivators of the Zhao family, the strongest was only a late-stage 2-star king. There wasn't a single 3-star king. With Lin Xian's current strength, he could defeat any 2-star king. As for 3-star kings, they might not be a match for him. Therefore, none of these people were a match for him. Even if there were more of them, he would just have to spend a little more effort. Therefore, he wasn't afraid at all. Qingcheng, continue the test. Lin Xian turned around and said to Morong Qingcheng. This was because he knew that Morong Qingcheng hadn't activated her bloodline power yet. In other words, Morong Qingcheng's talent was definitely above that of the 7 rays of light. Okay. Morong Qingcheng nodded. She also knew about Lin Xian's strength. Moreover, she knew that only by displaying a stronger talent could she suppress these people. Therefore, in the next moment, she placed her slender hand on the light pillar again. It's useless to test again. No matter how strong a dead person's talent is, it's useless. The elder of the Zhao family sneered. However, Dong Qian seemed to have thought of something and screamed. Kill her quickly. We can't let her test again. This was because she had already thought of a possibility, and that was that Morong Qingcheng's talent was higher than hers. If that was really the case, then things would be troublesome. Killing a genius of the same level as her could increase her value. However, if she killed a genius more outstanding than her, then she would be courting death. At that time, those large sects would definitely punish her. Therefore, she couldn't let Morong Qingcheng test again. Hearing this, 4 middle-aged women flew out and formed a sword formation. They quickly charged toward Morong Qingcheng. These were 4 1-star kings. When they joined forces, their strength was extremely powerful. They were even comparable to 2-star kings. Previously, they had already seen Lin Xian's cultivation. He was only a 1-star king. Morong Qingcheng behind him was also only a 1-star king. The 2 of them together definitely couldn't defeat them. Therefore, the 4 middle-aged women were very confident. However, Lin Xian coldly snorted. He flicked his fingers and 4 void-shattering fingers flew out. Pung 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 pung. 4 rays of light were like lightning, instantly piercing the 4 middle-aged women's heads. Blood splattered, and their bodies stopped in the air and fell to the ground. What? They've all been killed. Everyone was shocked, and they didn't dare believe it. This was far too frightening, right? Those were 4 1-star king tiers. Moreover, when they joined forces, they were already equivalent to 2-star king tiers. However, they had been killed in an instant. What kind of person? Morong Qingcheng, Morong Qingcheng, Mirong's Morong S. As for the few elders of the Zhao family, their faces were also ferocious. Damn it, this kid hid his strength. Morong Street Morong SS Mirongst. I have to admit that you've indeed exceeded our expectations. But so what? You're at most a 2-star king. However, we have 3 late-stage 2-star kings on our side. Do you think you can defeat them? Brat, I advise you to stop struggling. Kneel down and surrender. Hand over the 3 beauties, and he'll give you a quick death. Why are you wasting words with him? Just kill him. Bring the 3 beauties back. The Zhao family's elders laughed maniacally. However, at this moment, the testing light pillar changed again. After the testing light pillar released 7 rays of light, another ray of light appeared. This ray of light was like a divine rainbow, instantly illuminating the entire plaza. What? The 8th ray of light? How is this possible? Heavens, am I dreaming? 8 rays of light, it's really 8 rays of light. That beautiful woman's talent has already surpassed the Dong family's 2nd young mistress. 8 rays of light. It had been almost 100 years since they last saw one. Heaven-defying. That beautiful woman's talent is simply too high. Everyone discussed animatedly. They were extremely shocked. Meanwhile, Dong Qian's face was pale. Impossible, this is impossible. I don't believe it. This can't be real. What she was most worried about had still happened. The other party had released 8 rays of light, which meant that his talent had already surpassed hers. This made her extremely jealous and shocked at the same time. Meanwhile, the expressions of the Zhao family's martial artists changed drastically. They did not expect the other party's talent to be so high. 8 rays of light was already a genius among geniuses. Such a person would definitely be able to enter a powerful sect. Thinking of this, killing intent surged in their hearts. Kill her. They had to kill her before the people from the other large sects arrived. Otherwise, if she entered a large sect, the Zhao family would definitely suffer. Die. In the next moment, a Zhao family elder roared and pounced over like a ferocious tiger. What? He still wants to attack? Seeing the Zhao family attack, the surrounding martial artists exclaimed in shock. On the other hand, Dong Qian heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the Zhao family wanted to kill the other party more than she did. As long as the 3 Zhao family elders attacked, the other party would definitely not be able to escape. That was because those 3 elders were late-stage 2-star kings. When they joined forces, they were extremely powerful. No matter how strong the other party was, he would not be able to escape. On the other side, the Zhao family elders had already arrived near Lin Xian. A terrifying palm covered the sky and completely enveloped Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng. The wind howled, and the void trembled. This palm could definitely turn a 2-star king into a bloody mist. Therefore, many people exclaimed in shock. In their opinion, Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng could not dodge at all. However, Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand, and a black demonic sword appeared in his hand. It was the 9 darkness demonic sword. In the next moment, he waved the demonic sword, and a black sword chi instantly streaked across the sky. A black crack instantly appeared in the void, but it quickly healed. In the sky, the huge palm quickly disappeared and finally broke into 2 halves. The Zhao family elder also landed on the ground, his body trembling slightly. What's wrong? What happened? Everyone's eyes widened because Lin Xian's sword technique was too fast. They did not see it clearly at all. They only saw Lin Xian pull out a demonic sword, and then the terrifying palm disappeared. Dong Qian also did not see the sword clearly, but she had a bad feeling in her heart. The other 2 elders of the Zhao family were frowning. One of them moved forward and quickly asked, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" However, with a gentle push, the elder who attacked earlier fell to the ground with a plop. What? What happened? Chapter 1520. That old man gave a light push, and immediately, the elder who had attacked earlier fell to the ground with a plop. Judging by his stiffness, he seemed to have lost all signs of life. This made everyone very confused. What happened? Everyone was shocked. They stretched their necks and looked over. Then they screamed. This was because there was a thin red line between the eyebrows of the Zhao family elder, which extended all the way to his abdomen. That was a sword mark. Could it be that the Zhao family elder is dead? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, extremely shocked. That's right, the Zhao family elder was killed. The red line on his body was the sword mark displayed by Lin Xian. This sword was too fast. No one saw it clearly. Even when the Zhao family elder died, his body did not split open. Impossible. How is this possible? The two elders outside felt their scalps go numb. They did not dare to believe it. That was a late-stage 2-star king. His strength was extremely terrifying. However, the other party killed him with a single sword strike. What kind of strength did he have to be able to do that? They did not dare to imagine. Dong Qian was also scared out of her wits. Impossible, I don't believe it. Careless, I must have been careless. Seniors, you must attack with all your might and kill this little thief. Dong Qian screamed crazily. She was too scared. Even a late-stage 2-star king was killed with a single sword strike. They could not resist at all. Hearing Dong Qian's words, the two Zhang family elders looked at each other. That's right, we must have been careless. This kid can't be so strong. The two of them prepared to attack with all their might and kill Lin Xian. However, at this moment, the light beam behind them changed again. After the 8th light beam, the 9th light beam lit up again. What? 9 rays of light? Everyone was completely dumbfounded. Even the two elders of the Zhao family stopped in their tracks. 9 light beams, what kind of talent was this? It had not appeared for hundreds of years. To be honest, the two of them did not dare to attack at all. If this kind of genius was killed by them, those big sects would definitely be furious. At that time, not only would they suffer, but the entire Zhao family would also be implicated. For a moment, everyone was stunned. At the same time, the people from the major sects also received the news of the test. When they sensed the 9 rays of light, many sects took action. 9 rays of light was already very good. Such a genius must not be missed. Immediately, many sects began to move. They had to snatch this genius before everyone else. However, some of these sects were near while others were far away. But within the Daxian Empire, these sects had their training grounds. The Cool Breeze Dao Hall was a branch of the Cool Breeze faction. One of them, an old man in a green robe, looked at the light pillar in front of him and smiled. A genius with 9 rays of light. I definitely can't miss this opportunity. Ha 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 ha. I'm the closest to the Dark Moon Dojo. On the other side, a burly middle-aged man in a red robe was moving quickly. Other than that, there was also a Taoist nun riding a blue yuan, as well as an expert riding a flying sword. Without exception, they all flew towards the Dark Moon Dojo. It was obvious that their target was the genius who had activated the 9 rays of light. That was Morong Qingcheng. However, these people did not know that after they left, the testing light pillar lit up once again. This ray of light was like a divine chain that completely covered the surroundings. The light that it emitted was even brighter than the sun. 10 rays of light. Everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. 10 rays of light. No one had appeared for close to 1,000 years. Who would have thought that it would appear again this time? This time, not only were the subsidiary sects alarmed, but even the sacred grounds were alarmed. The eastern wilderness was vast and boundless. The Dashuan Empire was only one of the countries on this continent, and its strength was only considered average. However, there were still a few overlords in the eastern wilderness. They were the sacred grounds and the remote antiquity families. Among them, the remote antiquity families were mainly clans. Most of them were descendants of the great emperor, and they did not accept outsiders. Therefore, they would not choose disciples from outside. However, the sacred grounds were different. They searched the entire continent for exceptional geniuses to become disciples. These two seemed to have their own advantages. However, until now, the sacred grounds and the remote antiquity families were still the pinnacle of existence. No one could surpass them, unless there was a real great emperor. However, it had been a long time since a great emperor had appeared in the true spirit world. In a fairyland somewhere in the eastern wilderness, water was flowing, birds were singing, and flowers were fragrant. Rainbows formed a bridge, and spiritual chi surrounded it. This place was like a fairyland. Purple chi floated in the air, bringing with it a hint of mystery. This was one of the sacred grounds in the eastern wilderness, the Wuxia sacred ground. At this moment, in a testing area in the Wuxia sacred ground, a light pillar suddenly burst out with brilliant light. It was like a purple sun that shone in all directions. This is... The disciple in charge of guarding the place was shocked. He had never seen such a situation before. So he quickly reported it to the higher-ups of the sect. Soon this strange phenomenon alarmed the entire Holy Land. A few people surrounded by purple chi arrived. They stared at the sun like Ray in shock. This phenomenon, could it be that bloodline? An elder in a purple robe was excited. That's right. It's definitely that bloodline constitution. Beside him, a middle-aged Taoist nun stood on a cloud like a fairy. Her eyes were also filled with shock. Other than that, there were also a few terrifying people. All of them were shocked. They were too shocked. They did not expect that such a bloodline would really appear. The heavens are blessing our Wuxia sacred ground. We must not miss it. The purple-robed elder laughed loudly. Then he quickly asked, "Where did this news come from?" Dashuan Empire, Azure Moon Dojo. The disciple quickly reported. He knew that the people in front of him were all incredible people. At the same time, he was also very puzzled. Just what kind of bloodline and physique did he have to be able to attract these legendary figures? Dashuan Empire. Quick, inform the disciples near the Dashuan Empire. They must bring that person back. If anyone dares to stop them, kill them without mercy. The purple-robed elder's voice was filled with a trace of majesty. Yes, the disciples quickly agreed. Then they quickly got busy. Suddenly, rays of light arrays lit up. Obviously, they were passing the news to the disciples of the sacred sect far away in the Dashuan Empire. No, I'm not at ease. I'll send a few more people to help. That kind of bloodline constitution is absolutely not allowed to have any mishaps. The middle-aged Taoist nun also said in a deep voice, "Yes, send a few elders over and seal the news until the other party safely enters our Wuxia sacred ground." Hearing that, the surrounding disciples were shocked. They widened their eyes in disbelief. Chapter 1521. Yes, send a few elders over and seal off the news until she safely enters the Wuxia sacred land. Hearing this, the surrounding disciples were shocked. Their eyes widened in disbelief. What kind of bloodline is it? Why are these powerhouses so concerned? The surrounding disciples were shocked. Their eyes widened in disbelief. What kind of bloodline is it? Why are these powerhouses so concerned? They didn't know what kind of bloodline it was, but they knew that if anything happened to her, it would definitely cause the entire Wuxia sacred land to go crazy. In the end, the middle-aged Taoist nun sighed. Forget it, it'll go with you. Otherwise, I won't be at ease. Okay. The purple-robed elder nodded. Then the middle-aged Taoist nun turned into a purple light and disappeared into the sky. Lin Xian and the others didn't know about the commotion in the Wuxia sacred land. However, the entire Songyue square was in a state of shock. They looked at the 10 bright lights in front of them and were all stunned. 10 lights. Heavens, what did I just see? A miracle. It's definitely a miracle. 10 lights haven't appeared in more than 1,000 years, right? This is too heaven-defying. This beautiful woman is definitely a top genius. At this moment, everyone was shocked and their hearts were beating wildly. As for the warriors of the Zhao family and Dong family, their faces were pale and filled with despair. 10 lights. She had actually activated 10 lights. How was that possible? Now, even if they wanted to kill her, they didn't dare to act rashly. 10 lights were enough to enter the legendary sacred land. That was a true peerless sacred land. Its power was unimaginable. It wasn't something that they could fight against. Thinking of this, their bodies even trembled. Among them, a few warriors of the Zhao family had ugly expressions and almost knelt on the ground. Dong Qian also lost her arrogant expression. Her face was pale, and she even wanted to run away. Lin Xian was also surprised. He didn't expect Morong Qingqing to activate 10 lights and cause such a commotion. But soon after he started laughing. That was because this situation was simply too satisfying. Just by looking at the reactions of the Zhao family and the Dong family, he knew that Morong Qingqing's talent was beyond imagination. Most people wouldn't dare to touch her. This made him feel much more at ease. He too was also surprised because he did not expect Morong Qingqing to be able to release 10 light pillars. Morong Qingqing smiled like a blooming flower. She heaved a heavy sigh of relief in her heart. She knew she was safe. Not only her, but Lin Xian and the others were also safe. Not long after, the sound of something breaking through the air came from the sky. Then powerful figures descended one after another. Feeling this aura, everyone held their breaths and widened their eyes. Many of them even began to tremble. These auras were too strong. Lin Xian also raised his eyebrows in surprise. This was because he also felt a wave of pressure. This aura definitely surpassed that of a 3-star king realm. There were even a few that made him feel suffocated. I am Qing Fengzi. An old voice rang out. What? Qing Fengzi? Could it be an elder of the Qing Feng sect? Everyone exclaimed. The Qing Feng sect was a subsidiary sect of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Its status was very powerful, and was equivalent to the royal family of the Dashuan Empire. Ha 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 ha. The Dark Ocean Palace is here. Another loud and clear voice rang out. Fuck, it was another subsidiary sect. Everyone was shocked. They realized that there were also Blue Flower Sect, Northern Sword Sect, and other sections. Without exception, they were all very powerful. Moreover, they knew that these were only the first few sects to arrive. There would definitely be more behind. At this moment, the representatives of the 4 sects in the sky looked down and quickly searched. Obviously, they were looking for the peerless genius. Soon, someone's gaze landed on Dong Qian, but Vivian shook her head. Dong Qian was not bad, but now, she was not worth mentioning. Seeing the other party look away, Dong Qian's face turned pale. She was extremely jealous, but she did not dare to be presumptuous. Found her. Soon the 4 people in the sky smiled. Obviously, they had found the true peerless genius. Morong Qingqing. Morong Qingqing felt the 4 pairs of eyes on her, and her heart skipped a beat. She quickly bowed and greeted the seniors. You are the genius who triggered the 10 light pillars. Among them, the elder of the Cool Breeze sect asked. Yes, Morong Qingqing nodded. Are you willing to join my cool breeze sect? Qing Fengzi asked quickly. However, before Morong Qingqing could answer, the other three people were unwilling. Qing Fengzi, what do you mean? Among them, the lady in a blue dress asked coldly. That's right. What's so good about your cool breeze sect? Why don't you join my Dark Ocean Palace? My Northern Sword sect is better. Voices rang out, filled with strong confidence. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the four of them to fight. However, this also showed how heaven-defying Morong Qingqing's talent was. When the warriors of the Zhao family saw this scene, their faces turned ugly. They knew that there was no hope of killing the other party, at least not now. On the other hand, Dong Qian's face was pale, and she was trembling with anger. This honor originally belonged to her, but it was snatched away by someone else. She was unwilling to accept this. Lin Xian, on the other hand, smiled. He was very satisfied with this scene. However, in the sky, the debate between the four experts became more and more intense. At this moment, the lady from the blue flower sect said, "Let's not fight. Let her choose." Okay. The other three agreed. In the next moment, the four of them looked at Morong Qingqing again. Little girl, which sect do you want to join? Qing Fengzi asked. My Cool Breeze sect is a subsidiary sect of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. It is very powerful. If you join us, you might have a chance to enter the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Join my Blue Flower sect and you will have a chance too. The lady in blue did not let it go. Obviously, the Blue Flower sect was also a subsidiary sect of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. The Dark Ocean Palace is better. If you join, I will let you become a core disciple. The burly middle-aged man said. Core disciple? Hearing this, everyone exclaimed. They did not expect that the other party would become a core disciple as soon as she entered. There were different types of sect disciples, and the best type was the core disciple. This condition moved countless people. The North Sword sect's treatment is better. I will recommend you to become the sect leader's disciple. Whoosh! Everyone was shocked and went crazy. However, Morong Qingqing smiled bitterly. She did not know how to choose. Originally, she only wanted to join a subsidiary sect, but now there were 4 subsidiary sections. At this moment, she really did not know how to choose. Lin Xian was speechless. It seemed that being too talented was also a problem. She won't go anywhere. However, at this moment, another voice was heard, and it resounded in all directions. This voice was full of majesty, and it made everyone's hair stand on end. Chapter 1522. That voice shocked everyone. Could it be that the sects are here to fight again? Everyone looked into the distance again. Even the 4 experts in the sky turned their heads one after another. In the next moment, everyone was stunned. This was especially true for the 4 powerhouses. Their expressions changed drastically. In the distant sky, a purple ray of light flew over quickly. At first, it was still very far, but in the blink of an eye, it was already in front of them. That ray of light wrapped around 3 figures, 2 men and a woman. One of them was a middle-aged man. The other was a young man and a young woman. The 3 of them were surrounded by purple light. Although their cultivation couldn't be seen clearly, the aura emitted was even more terrifying than the previous 4 experts. Which sect are they from? Everyone in the square looked up at the sky, puzzled. Indeed, they had never seen them before. However, the previous 4 experts' faces changed drastically. Among them, the elder Qing Fengzi exclaimed, "Purple Glow Holy Land. You are from Purple Glow Holy Land." What? Purple Glow Holy Land. They are genius martial artists from the Holy Land. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Shocking, this was really too shocking. One had to know that they had never seen martial artists from the Holy Land. Because although the Dashuan Empire was powerful compared to the Holy Land, it was much worse. At most, it was on par with those affiliated sects of the Holy Land. Therefore, those martial artists from the Holy Land would not come at all. Even if they came, these people would not see them. But they did not expect that the martial artists from the Holy Land would actually come to Blue Moon Square now. Heavens, these martial artists from the Holy Land wouldn't be here for that stunning young girl. Right? Heaven-defying. It has been more than 1,000 years since such a thing happened. Everyone was envious, while the Zhao family members were sweating cold sweat. The worst thing they expected had happened. The other party had finally attracted the attention of the Holy Land. Now they did not dare to touch the other party at all, and even worried about being retaliated by the other party. Thinking of this, they had an impulse to run away. On the other side, Dong Qian was gnashing her teeth. She was going crazy with jealousy. In the sky, Qing Fengzi and the other 3 were also puzzled. They did not expect that the people from Purple Glow Holy Land would actually come. Could it be that they were also here for the genius below? They could not understand because when they left, they only knew that the other party had activated 9 light pillars. As for the matter of the 10 pillars of light, they did not know. Moreover, they didn't know that the other party had a special bloodline physique that made the Purple Afterglow Holy Land go crazy. However, although they were extremely puzzled, they did not dare to be presumptuous. After all, the hallowed grounds were not in existence that they could provoke. The middle-aged warrior from the Purple Dawn Holy Land looked down at Morong Qingqing and nodded slightly. Very good. My Purple Afterglow Holy Land wants this person. A steady voice sounded. What? Purple Afterglow Holy Land wants it? Everyone was shocked. Heavens, the Purple Dawn Holy Land is really going to take it. Isn't this too shocking? Their eyes widened in disbelief. One had to know that such a situation had not happened for many years. Now they were actually witnessing a martial artist become a disciple of a holy land with their own eyes. Gulp. Gulp. The sound of countless people swallowing their saliva was heard. Dong Qian was so angry that she was trembling. She wanted nothing more than to pounce on them. The faces of the Zhao family members were even paler. Qing Fengzi and the other 3 sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect that the other party was really here for the woman below. Taking a deep breath, Qing Fengzi said, "Since the Purple Dawn Holy Land has spoken, we will naturally comply." The other 3 nodded as well. Then they retreated to the side. The middle-aged man in purple nodded his head in satisfaction. Then he looked down and said to Morong Qingqing, "Come with us." Morong Qingqing took a deep breath. To be honest, she was too excited. She didn't expect that she would eventually attract people from the Holy Land. Moreover, the Purple Dawn Holy Land would directly recruit her. However, she still looked at Lin Xian to seek his opinion. Lin Xian smiled. "This is a good opportunity. Don't give it up." "I understand." Morong Qingqing nodded. "I am willing to join the Purple Dawn Holy Land." "Good." The middle-aged man in purple laughed. Then he waved his hand. A force wrapped around Morong Qingqing and brought her to his side. Lin Xian, remember to look for me. Morong Qingqing transmitted her voice. Then, the group turned into a purple rainbow and left the place. Phew! Only when the figure disappeared did everyone heave a sigh of relief. They had no choice. The aura of the three Holy Land martial artists was too strong. It made it hard for them to breathe. In the sky, the four experts sighed and prepared to leave. Just then Lin Xian smiled and said, "Seniors, please wait." The four of them were stunned. They stopped and looked down. "What's the matter?" Qing Fengzi frowned and asked. "Seniors, please wait. I have a friend who wants to be tested," Lin Xian said. Hearing that, the man from the Deep Sea Palace showed a trace of impatience. The woman from the Blue Flower sect was puzzled. "Friend, is that peerless genius your friend?" "Yes," Lin Xian smiled and said. "My other two friends are not bad either. Why don't you take a look?" Lin Xian had his own ideas. He knew that Shen Jingqiu and Luo Bingshan were not bad, and could at least enter an affiliated sect. That was why he stopped the four of them. "All right, I'll take a look." Qing Fengzi was interested. The other three stayed as well. Anyway, it wouldn't take much time. "Qiu, are you do it?" Lin Xian waved his hand. "Oh." Shen Jingqiu nodded and walked over in small steps. "Another peerless beauty!" The crowd exclaimed and was envious. "This kid is too lucky. He has three peerless beauties by his side." "Yeah. Who is he?" A group of people discussed. Shen Jingqiu quickly came to the front of the light pillar and placed her hand on it. Suddenly the light pillar shone. 1, 2, 3. Soon 7 light pillars lit up. Everyone's hearts were in their mouths. 8. Everyone swallowed their saliva and widened their eyes. Because the 9th light pillar lit up. 9 again. Many people exclaimed. They realized that another top genius had appeared. Moreover, it was another peerless beauty. God, where did they come from? In the sky, Qing Fengzi and the other three were surprised. They were just curious, and didn't expect the other party to really activate 9 light pillars. Such talent was enough to enter their sect. Not bad. Not bad. Little girl, your talent is abnormal. It's really surprising that you can gather together. The few of them nodded and their eyes lit up. They were ready to snatch the girl again. However, in the next moment, they were stunned again. There was even a look of shock on their faces. Not only the 4 experts, but the entire square was stunned again. Everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian widened his eyes. Chapter 1523. What? Another 10 beams of light. Everyone was stunned and could not believe it. This was too shocking. They had just witnessed a peerless genius with 10 beams of light. They did not expect to see it again. For a moment, everyone was dumbfounded. In the sky, the 4 peerless experts were also stunned. Originally, they only wanted to see it out of curiosity. However, they did not expect another peerless genius to appear. Thinking of this, the corners of their mouths twitched. Although this kind of genius was good, they could not get their hands on it. This kind of genius was destined to enter the sacred ground. To be honest, Lin Xian was also stunned when he saw this. He did not expect Shen Jinqia's talent to be the same as Morong Qingcheng's. However, he then smiled. This made him feel even more relieved. However, they did not know that behind these 10 beams of light, there was an earth-shattering event. Eastern Wilderness, another sacred ground. Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Jade Lake was a place in ancient mythology. However, since this sacred ground dared to use Jade Lake as its name, one could imagine how terrifying it was. At this moment, something happened in Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Their testing beam of light suddenly bloomed with endless light. Then, a phoenix quickly formed and rushed into the sky. The phoenix hovered in the sky, and then dropped tens of thousands of beams of light. There was even a mysterious sound in the sky, zither and phoenix singing. This phenomenon directly alarmed the entire sacred ground. Phoenix bloodline, this is the phoenix physique. Heavens, this legendary bloodline has actually appeared again. They were too excited. In the true spirit world, there were many special bloodlines and physiques. Some of them were very special. They were the favored children of heaven and earth, and contained powerful energy. The Phoenix bloodline was one of them. Quick, we must find him. Immediately, the entire Jade Lake moved quickly. On the other side, Dashuan Empire, Tsangyue Square. Everyone was still in a daze. At this moment, a cloud of green mist appeared in the sky. The green mist swirled with light, bringing with it a terrifying energy that made people tremble all over. Ha 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 ha. A genius with 10 beams of light. I didn't expect to find him. If that's the case, then come with me. The green mist rolled quickly, and then surged downward. Like a long green river, it was extremely strange. The green waves spread and quickly enveloped Shen Jingqiu. You're courting death. Lin Xian roared and slashed out with his sword. However, he was unable to resist it. This was because the green mist was simply too terrifying. Soon his sword chi was shattered. However, at this moment, the 4 experts in the sky made their move. Humph. Qing Fengzi snorted and quickly made his move. With a flick of his sleeve, the void trembled, forming a ray of light that slashed forward. It was like a bolt of lightning that illuminated the void. Boom. The attack collided with the green weapon, creating a loud boom, but it was unable to block it. What? Qing Fengzi was stunned, not daring to believe it. Watch me. A woman from the Blue Flower sect made her move. Her blue hair fluttered in the wind, her eyes were clear, and her temperament was incomparably ethereal. A blue petal appeared on his body, quickly expanding and pushing out. Bang! It was as if a sudden clap of thunder had exploded in the heavens and the earth, causing the void to shake and hum. This energy was too terrifying, causing the martial artists below to turn pale. However, it was still unable to block it. That green light quickly rushed downwards. Accompanying it was a disdainful voice. Just a few 4-star kings, and you want to stop me? What a joke. Damn it. Who are you? The woman from Blue Flower sect asked in a deep voice. Oh no, are you the green-robed king? Qing Fengzi exclaimed. Haha, I didn't expect someone to recognize me. The voice was extremely arrogant. Since you know me, why don't you get lost? With an angry roar, the void exploded, and a terrifying energy swept in all directions. Not good. In the sky, the 4 people's faces changed drastically. They quickly counterattacked. The North Sword sect was the first to make a move. The blood-red sword in his hand emitted a cold light, piercing toward the green mist. This attack was extremely terrifying, erupting with a dazzling light. It was like a sudden clap of thunder that shook the entire void. It was clearly a ray of sword chi, but it was like a divine rainbow descending incomparably sharp. Kill. At the same time, The burly middle-aged man from Deep Sea Palace also made his move. A blue fist blasted out, and it was extremely violent. It directly pierced through the void and arrived in front of him. Qing Fengzi and the Blue Flower sect also erupted, pouncing over to stop the green mist. In an instant, a terrifying energy exploded. Everyone was stunned, not expecting such an unforeseen event to happen. They quickly retreated and watched nervously. Bang! 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 A series of low sounds rang out, and then Qing Fengzi and the other three were forced to retreat. Damn it, he's a 5-star king. Damn it! The four people's faces were ugly. They were only 4-star kings, and even if they joined forces, they couldn't fight against a 5-star king. What, a 5-star king? Hearing this, everyone was stunned, and Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. A 5-star king was too terrifying. Although he had the great dragon sword soul, he probably couldn't block it. Ha ha ha, now you know how powerful I am. The voice was extremely arrogant. Get lost, or don't blame me for starting a massacre. Green-robed king, although you're strong, I advise you not to attack. That's a genius that the sacred ground has taken a fancy to. Qing Fengzi gritted his teeth and said, Sacred ground? Don't scare me. The green-robed king sneered. The sacred ground is powerful, but they won't come here. By the time they come, it'll be long gone. Ha 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 ha. That girl looks good, and her talent is even better. She should be able to improve my green shadow divine art to another level. As he spoke, he looked up to the sky and laughed. The four people's faces were ugly, and Shun Jinqia's face was also pale. Just as everyone was in despair, the void suddenly trembled. Then light bloomed and waves of ripples spread out. Everyone was stunned as they looked up. In the sky, the void seemed to have been torn apart, and a black hole appeared. Then a jade-like foot stepped out of the black hole. Then a figure that was emitting light appeared. Tens of thousands of rays of light descended, as if a fairy had descended. Although they couldn't see her face, they could vaguely recognize that she was a woman. Who's attacking? A cold voice rang out. Who are you? How dare you interfere in my business? The green-robed king sneered. How dare you touch my Jade Lake's people? Die! The cold voice rang out again. What? Jade Lake? It's someone from the sacred ground, everyone exclaimed in disbelief. Qing Fengzi and the girls from the Blue Flower sect also quickly bowed. What? Jade Lake's sacred ground? Hearing this, the green-robed king's face changed greatly. Then he couldn't care about anything else and turned around to escape. Although he had defeated Qing Fengzi and the other three, and although he was a 5-star king, he was nothing in front of a sacred ground. He could only escape. You still want to leave? Stay. Chapter 1524. With a wave of his palm, rays of light danced in the air. This palm was too bright. It was like the sun, causing the entire world to lose its color. Damn it, block it! The green-robed king roared angrily, and then used his king domain. Suddenly, a green domain quickly enveloped him. The entire void trembled, forming a green fortress that quickly resisted the shining palm in the sky. Boom! In the next moment a low sound was heard. The Green King's domain exploded, turning into countless fragments. Not only that, the green-robed king's body also exploded, forming a cloud of blood mist. In front of this palm, the domain that he was so proud of, and the strength of a 5-star king were useless. What? The green-robed king was killed. Everyone was shocked and gasped. That was a 5-star king, and he was killed with a single palm? They couldn't believe it. One had to know that the green-robed king had defeated Qing Fengzi and the other 3. He was extremely powerful. However, such a powerful figure couldn't even block a single move. What cultivation level did that woman reach? She was so terrifying. Was this the strength of a sacred ground? So powerful. Lin Xian also raised his head, his eyes flickering. He was shocked. That palm strike just now made his hair stand on end. It also let him know the strength of a sacred ground. No wonder they were the overlords of the true spirit world. They were indeed powerful. Follow me. In the sky, the shining figure said slowly. Hearing this, Shen Jingqiu turned her head and looked at Lin Xian. Brother Lin Xian, I'm leaving. Remember to look for me. I'll miss you. Then her figure floated into the sky. Together with the figure from the Jade Lake sacred ground, she entered the black hole again. In the next moment, the 2 figures entered the black hole, and the black vortex also quickly disappeared. In the end, the entire sky became clear again. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The scene just now was like a dream. Qing Fengzi and the other 3 also sighed, then looked at Lin Xian again. Kid, you still have a friend. Let her take the test. Hearing this, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched, and they looked at Lin Xian strangely. Since the first 2 were geniuses who had managed to trigger 10 rays of light, they were eager to know if the third person was a peerless genius too. Bingshan, you do it. Lin Xian nodded and waved at Luo Bingshan. Then, Luo Bingshan stepped forward and arrived in front of the light pillar. This time, it was not 10 rays of light, but 9 rays of light. Finally, after confirming that there were 9 rays of light, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there weren't 10 rays of light. Otherwise, this scene would be too heaven-defying. In the sky, Qing Fengzi and the other 3 heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, a genius with 9 rays of light was just right for them. This trip was not in vain. Little doll, are you willing to follow us? The moment Qing Fengzi asked this question, he regretted it. Because the void split open again, and a figure walked out. That figure was mysterious. His body was shrouded in countless demonic clouds, and it was impossible to see clearly. However, the aura that emanated from his body was incomparably terrifying. He was like a demon king, standing in the void. He did not look at anyone, nor did he say anything. With a wave of his hand, the demonic clouds rumbled and covered Luo Bingshan, bringing him away. Everyone was stunned. The entire scene was eerily quiet. Lin Xian frowned. He did not even know which sect the other party was from. Sigh. With a sigh, he could only shake his head. He could only say that this was Luo Bingshan's opportunity, and he could not interfere with it. Hopefully, there would be a chance to meet him in the future. In the sky, Qing Fengzi and the other 3 were speechless. It was not easy to find a genius with 9 rays of light. Originally, they wanted to recruit him into their sect, but they did not expect such a change to occur. However, they did not dare to say anything because the aura that the figure gave off was too terrifying. It made their hair stand on end. Little doll, do you have any friends? Or do you want to be tested? Qing Fengzi did not give up, and looked at Lin Xian once again. However, Lin Xian shook his head. The 3 people he had brought with him had already finished their tests, and he was not going to be tested. Seeing this, Qing Fengzi and the other 3 sighed. Then, their bodies swayed, and they quickly left the place. What? They left? Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the 4 of them to leave just like that. The one with the worst expression was Dong Qian. She was stunned. One must know that she was also a genius with 7 rays of light, and could enter the affiliated sect. However, those 4 powerhouses from before did not even take a look at her, and directly flew away. This made her feel hopeless. It's you, it's all your fault. It's all because of you that I missed this opportunity. She glared viciously at Lin Xian, her face full of malice. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. You're a piece of trash and you're blaming it on others? What a joke! What did you say? Dong Qian screamed. Kill him for me. Yes, Mississippi. Suddenly, an old woman with a walking stick walked out from behind her. Her face was full of wrinkles. Her aura was asking for a beating. She was also a late 2-star king? At the same time, the 2 elders of the Zhao family also walked up. The 3 of them stood side by side, and killing intent surged from their bodies. They had no choice. They had already offended Lin Xian, and they had to kill him quickly. Otherwise, they would be finished when Lin Xian joined forces with the disciples of the Holy Lands. Humph! So what if your friends have entered the Holy Lands? They are them, and you are you. You might not be able to contact each other in this lifetime. Since you dared to offend us, you can die obediently. The 3 of them quickly activated their king domains, and charged towards Lin Xian. The terrifying king domains shone brightly, cutting through the void. The 3 king domains carried shocking killing intent, as they charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was cold. His body swayed, and he quickly dodged the killing intent. Boom! The place where his combat strength was turned into a black hole. Humph, let's see how you dodge. The 3 of them sneered and attacked again. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian's voice was cold as he quickly activated the dragon sword domain. Suddenly, a green light appeared around him. Countless sword chi shocked the heavens, forming a special domain. Buzz! Buzz! In the next moment, the 4 domains collided, and a shocking sound rang out. Humph, so what if you're strong? Do you think you can stop the 3 of us? The old woman sneered. The 2 elders of the Zhao family also looked ferocious. They were very confident that they could kill Lin Xian. Not good, that kid is in danger. Yes, 3 late 2-star kings. He can't stop them at all. Everyone shook their heads. Lin Xian roared, and the dragon sword domain trembled. Sword chi exploded, and a green light shot into the sky. Then, Lin Xian's body flashed with light, bringing with it a shocking murderous intent. Chapter 1525. This aura was too terrifying. Everyone felt a chill down their spines. Lin Xian's dragon sword realm rolled rapidly, and countless rays of light gathered on his arm. Then, a Qilin phantom appeared, looking disdainfully at the surroundings. It carried a terrifying energy, as if it was going to destroy the world. Accompanying it was a low roar that made one's scalp go numb. Qilin arm. This was one of the ultimate skills that Lin Xian had learned on the Black Earth. At this moment, it was extremely powerful. After using the Qilin arm, Lin Xian roared and punched out. The Qilin roared, carrying a terrifying energy as it rushed forward. Suddenly, the expressions of the three late two-star kings from the Zhao family and Dong family changed. Boom! There was a shocking collision, and then the Qilin arms slammed into the three realms, emitting a terrifying energy. Crack, crack, crack. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the three realms started to crack. What? How is this possible? Everyone's scalp went numb in disbelief. What kind of power was this? How could it be so terrifying? How could it shatter their realms with a single punch? One had to know that the three of them were late two-star kings. When they joined forces, they were extremely terrifying. However, Yi Futian had actually shattered their king's domains with a single punch. This was simply too shocking. Damn it, quickly counterattack and kill him. The old lady from the Dong family roared crazily. Then, she activated her Silver King realm and slashed out a huge silver half-moon. Silver moon slash. A shocking ray of light like a crescent moon streaked across the void. Space-splitting slash. A black sword ray shot out quickly and slashed down. Roar of death. On the other side, the king realm vibrated and formed a ghost head that let out a shocking roar. The three late two-star kings used extremely powerful ultimate skills at this moment, and quickly attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a long roar as the dragon sword domain erupted with an incomparably dazzling light. Qilin arm, Qilin kill. In an instant, the power of the dragon sword realm circulated crazily and supported the Qilin wall. Suddenly, the entire arm bloomed with incomparably bright light. The illusory image of the Qilin became even more solid, as if it was a real divine beast. In the next instant, Lin Xian punched out, forcefully blocking the three king-level attacks. Boom! Boom! An earth-shattering collision sound rang out once again, and the entire void became distorted. In the sky, the ultimate moves of the three great kings were smashed apart by this single punch, shattering into countless shards. The expressions of the three kings changed as they were sent flying. What? He was sent flying? Everyone exclaimed in disbelief. Damn it, this is impossible. Dong Qian's face was also pale. She couldn't believe it. She did not expect the other party to be so powerful. As for the three late-stage two-star king tiers, their expressions were even more horrified. What kind of power was this? It actually made them tremble. Is he really a one-star king? How could there be such power? Even more terrifying than a three-star king? They truly had no idea what was going on. However, they knew that the other party's strength was beyond their imagination. At this moment, they did not dare to stay at this place at all. They quickly fled. The old woman waved her hand, instantly wrapping Dong Qian up and flying into the distance. The two elders of the Zhao family also joined forces to escape. Trying to escape? Lin Xian sneered. His body was like a ray of sword light, as he quickly chased after them. He was chasing after the two elders of the Zhao family. As for the dark red divine dragon, it flew towards the martial artists of the Dong family. Boom! Boom! Two sounds rang out. Then, those who had escaped flew back again. Everyone was shocked, and their scalps went numb. As for Dong Qian, she screamed, "If you dare to touch me, the Dong family will not let you off." Smack! The dark red divine dragon waved its claw and directly slapped her. Instantly, a red mark appeared on her delicate face. "You talk too much." The dark red divine dragon snorted. This guy actually dared to kill Morong Qingcheng. This made it very unhappy. On the other side, the two martial artists of the Zhao family also said coldly, "Brat. Do you really want to be enemies with us? You have to think carefully. Our Zhao family and Dong family are first-rate families in the Dashuan Empire. If you dare to touch us, you will definitely not be able to move an inch in the Dashuan Empire." Even now, you still dare to threaten me? Lin Xian sneered. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I know that the two of you must die today. After speaking, he waved his hand, and the dragon sword realm directly enveloped the two of them. Countless rays of sword chi turned into resplendent rays, instantly piercing towards the two of them. The aura was too terrifying. It was like a peerless divine weapon, incomparably sharp. It directly pierced through the bodies of the two elders of the Zhao family. The dragon sword realm disappeared, and the bodies of the two elders of the Zhao family fell to the ground. Fresh blood flowed, dyeing the ground red. Looking at this scene, everyone's scalp went numb. The remaining martial artists of the Zhao family fled like crazy. Lin Xian waved his arm, and dozens of rays of sword chi flew out, killing all of them. In a moment, the martial artists of the Zhao family were all wiped out. Then, Lin Xian turned around and looked at the Dong family again. Feeling that gaze, Dong Qian's body trembled, and her expression was incomparably ugly. She did not expect that the other party would actually dare to make a move. That Zhao family was the same as their Dong family, a first-rate family. Could it be that he was not afraid of crazy revenge? Brat, you dared to touch me, you're dead. Dong Qian screamed. She did not have any strength to resist at all, and could only threaten. Brat, I advise you to quickly let me go. My brother is nearby. When he comes, you're definitely dead. My brother is a 3-star king, a prodigy of the younger generation. He's also the third prince's right-hand man. Moreover, he will soon participate in the Empire's martial arts conference. He will definitely be famous throughout the world. You dare to touch me, you're dead. However, these threatening words were pale and pitiful in Lin Xian's eyes. Participate in the martial arts conference? 3-star king? Is he very strong? Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. In the next moment, the dragon sword realm flew out again, enveloping Dong Qian and the martial artists of the Dong family. Lin Xian said coldly, I have no enmity with you, but you wanted to assassinate my woman because of jealousy. I can't forgive you for that. So, you're in this situation now because you asked for it. Lin Xian said coldly. Then, he raised his hand and was about to activate the dragon sword realm. However, at this moment, an angry roar came from afar. Who dares to touch the people of my Dong family? This voice was extremely terrifying, like dozens of thunderbolts exploding in the air. However, hearing this voice, Dong Qian cried out in alarm. Brother, save me! Let go of my sister. Kneel on the ground and wait for death, or I'll tear you into pieces. That figure rushed over at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 1526. Suddenly, the dragon sword realm exploded with a terrifying light. Countless sword chi killed all the Dong family martial artists inside. Puff, 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 puff. What? He killed all of them. Everyone was shocked and their scalps went numb. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so bold as to kill people in front of the Dong family's martial artists. The Dong family's martial artist who had rushed over also roared crazily. He did not expect that Lin Xian would dare to make a move. Ah, go to hell, kid. That figure was like a long rainbow, rushing towards Lin Xian. That figure was too powerful. His aura was shocking. Light erupted from his body and shot into the sky. He had an extremely violent and domineering aura. He stood in the air. Countless rays of light surged under his feet, forming a white tiger that quickly stepped on Lin Xian. Everyone seemed to hear a tiger's roar that shook the mountains and rivers. Then, a white tiger quickly formed under the mysterious martial artist's feet. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws, roaring in the air. This white tiger was not an ordinary tiger. It was a very powerful martial art. At this moment, in the hands of the mysterious martial artist, it was even more shocking. It was like an ancient divine beast. White tiger kill. That's a mid-grade earth-tier martial art. Everyone exclaimed. Even in the Dashuan Empire, earth-tier martial arts were not ordinary. They were very high-level martial arts. Ordinary people could not learn them. Just like the Zhao family's elders, they only mastered low-grade earth-tier martial arts. They did not have any mid-grade earth-tier martial arts. But now, this young man had just appeared and used his father's mid-grade martial art. It was extremely powerful. White light shot into the sky, and the terrifying fluctuations were shocking. This kick seemed to be able to shatter the mountains and rivers. The huge white tiger's shadow instantly enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his arm, and used the Qilin arm. A Qilin quickly formed and roared. It collided with the white tiger that swooped down from the sky. Then the two divine beasts disappeared into the air. The terrifying energy transformed into waves that slapped in all directions, scaring everyone into retreating. In the sky a figure appeared. It was a young man, about 28 or 29 years old. At this moment, his handsome face was filled with gloom. He was like a fiend god, standing in the void and looking down. He asked coldly, "Brat, you actually dared to kill my sister. Today, I will make you kneel and accept your death. Your sister only has herself to blame. It's better to kill such a person. I advise you to scram. Otherwise, if you anger me, I'll kill you too." Facing the sky, Lin Xian did not back down. "Brat, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you killed a few late-stage 2-star kings. Let me tell you, those people are nothing in my eyes. The same goes for you. I advise you to kneel down obediently. This way you may suffer less pain. Otherwise, if you anger me, I will make you regret being born into this world. 3-star king, is this what gives you the right to be so arrogant?" Lin Xian sneered. "Brat, you are too weak. You don't know how powerful a 3-star king is. In the sky, Dong Qianshan was very arrogant. In front of me, even late-stage 2-star kings are ants, let alone you. Moreover, I am not an ordinary 3-star king. I am a martial artist under the 3rd prince. And I am also a genius who is about to participate in the martial arts conference. If you offend me, you will not have a good ending." "Ridiculous," Lin Xian sneered. Dong Qianshan's arrogant attitude made him very unhappy. Therefore, in the next moment, he did not waste any time, and directly used the dragon sword realm to attack. Myriad sword technique. At this moment, Lin Xian used another middle-grade earth-class martial art. Instantly, the dragon sword spirit trembled, and countless sword chi quickly formed, releasing endless cold light. 3,000 sword force, Lin Xian roared. 3,000 beams of sword chi circled around him, forming a terrifying aura. Then, he slashed out with his sword, and the terrifying sword chi was like a shocking rainbow, quickly slashing forward. This aura was too terrifying, as if it could destroy the galaxy and shatter everything. When the surrounding martial artists saw this scene, their scalps went numb. Even the late-stage 2-star kings were terrified. In front of this aura, they did not have any power to resist. In the sky, Dong Qianshan's expression changed for the first time. He did not expect that his opponent could release such a terrifying aura. Then he roared and quickly counterattacked. White Tiger Divine Fist. Dong Qianshan roared and waved his fists. This time, two huge tiger heads appeared on his fists. Terrifying power quickly circulated, and his body surged with killing intent, directly piercing through the void. Bang! The two collided in the sky, and a huge collapse occurred. The entire void exploded, and countless black cracks appeared, spreading in all directions. 3,000 sword chi turned into a terrifying killing intent, directly cutting the two ferocious tiger heads, and countless cracks appeared. Dong Qianshan's pupils shrank, and his expression changed drastically. His body swayed, and he turned into a white light, quickly retreating. What? He was pushed back. Everyone looked at the sky, and their scalps went numb. They did not expect that the one who was pushed back was Dong Qianshan, who was a 3-star king. This was too unbelievable. It should be known that Dong Qianshan was a 3-star king, and his opponent was only a 1-star king. However, the result was out of everyone's expectations. Heavens, who is that young man? Is he even more powerful than Dong Qianshan? He must have some way to hide his cultivation. Otherwise, a 1-star king could not force a 3-star king to retreat. This does not make sense. Many people screamed, and they were extremely shocked. In the sky, Dong Qianshan stopped and looked ahead with a gloomy face. Boy, who are you? Lin Xian sneered. Don't you think it's too late to ask who I am? You. Dong Qianshan snorted coldly. Don't be so arrogant. I was just careless. Is that so? Then use your full strength and fight with me. Lin Xian laughed wildly, and then he attacked again. You're courting death. Dong Qianshan was furious when he saw Lin Xian charging at him. He had never been looked down upon like this before. He was a 3-star king, and he was the third prince's right-hand man. His strength could definitely be ranked in the top 10 among the third prince's martial artists. Therefore, he would not allow a 1-star king to look down on him. He roared angrily, and he attacked again with the White Tiger Divine Fist. Then the two of them fought fiercely. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions, and earth-shattering sounds created many black holes in the void. However, Dong Qianshan was quickly sent flying again. Not only that, but he was also injured, and a trace of blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth. Chapter 1527. Impossible. Damn it. This is impossible. I don't believe it. Dong Qianshan roared madly. He could not accept this reality. 3-star king? Participating in the martial arts conference? Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Is this enough to make you so arrogant? I really don't know where you get your confidence from. He attacked mercilessly. Do you think a 3-star king is powerful? You're nothing in my eyes. Also, don't think that participating in the martial arts conference is something worth being arrogant about. Let me tell you. I've also been invited by Princess Kai Dai to participate in the martial arts conference. So in front of me, you don't have any right to be arrogant. What? He's also participating in the martial arts conference? Hearing this, the crowd exclaimed. The martial arts conference was a grand event in the Dashuan Empire. Only the top geniuses of the younger generation could participate. Therefore, anyone who participated in the martial arts conference would be regarded as a supreme honor. This was also the reason why Dong Qianshan had been constantly talking about this matter. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian would also participate in the martial arts conference. This was too shocking. You're also participating in the martial arts conference? Hearing Lin Xian's words, Dong Qianshan's expression darkened. He gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. This was simply too embarrassing. In front of so many people, he could not even defeat a 3-star king. If this news spread, he would lose all his face. In that case, I won't hold back. I want to see what kind of strength you have to participate in the martial arts conference. He roared and quickly displayed his king's domain. Suddenly, the surrounding space darkened. Behind him, a huge black mountain appeared. It was dark and majestic, with a soul-stirring pressure. Furthermore, black flames were being emitted from the black mountain. They were burning fiercely. This black mountain was Dong Qianshan's king's domain. After displaying the king's domain, Dong Qianshan's aura skyrocketed. It carried a terrifying murderous aura. This aura was so terrifying that it made all the martial artists in the square tremble. What a terrifying aura. Dong Qianshan is indeed a 3-star king. He's so terrifying. Is this the strength of a martial artist participating in the martial arts conference? So strong. Brat, you should be proud of yourself for forcing me to use my Devil Mountain domain. Dong Qianshan said coldly. Then he waved his hand. Suddenly, a black demonic mountain came crashing down. Boom! The black light flickered, bringing with it a murderous aura that soared into the sky, as if it was going to tear the entire sky apart. In an instant, the black demonic mountain arrived above Lin Xian and pressed down mercilessly. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a low roar. The domain of the dragon sword around him flickered, and a shocking sword light soared into the sky, tearing the entire void apart. At this moment, the terror of the great dragon sword spirit was displayed. Vast sword chi shrouded the entire area. Pung! The demonic mountain and the sword chi collided, and a shocking sound of collision erupted. However, that terrifying demonic mountain was actually split apart by a single slash. What? Split it open with a single slash? This is impossible. Dong Qianshan's pupils constricted. Everyone cried out in alarm, feeling their scalps go numb. That was Dong Qianshan's all-out attack. It was an attack that had fused with the Devil Mountain domain. It was incomparably terrifying. No one below the level of a 3-star king could block it. Yet now it had actually been split open by someone. Moreover, the one who had done this was actually a 1-star king tier. This was truly too inconceivable. Kid, go to hell! Dong Qianshan roared crazily. His voice was like thunder, causing the entire sky to split apart. Then, he brought the black demonic mountain with him, and quickly rushed towards Lin Xian. He was like a devil king. The tattoos on his body were surrounded by a black aura, emitting a terrifying murderous aura. Kill! Lin Xian let out a furious roar as well. Then, his sword chi swept out like a true dragon, filling up the void. That incomparably huge body was covered with scales, as if it was real. A terrifying aura shook the entire void. With a terrifying murderous aura, it quickly slashed forward. Pung! The incomparably terrifying demonic mountain collided with the true dragon sword chi, and a sonorous sound rang out. Suddenly, demonic clouds rolled, and black chi rose, turning the place into hell. The scene was extremely terrifying. This time, Dong Qianshan attacked with all his strength. With the incomparably terrifying Devil Mountain domain, he directly broke the sword qi and quickly rushed towards Lin Xian. Haha kid, go to hell. Your sword qi is useless in front of me. Dong Qianshan stood on the demonic mountain and quickly rushed over. He was like a true devil king, extremely powerful to the extreme. Lin Xian, on the other hand, sneered and activated the dragon sword realm to fight back. Ridiculous, you want to use your domain to fight against me? You're courting death. Watch how I shatter your domain. Dong Qianshan laughed crazily, because a one-star king's domain could not do anything in front of him. It's over, that kid is going to be killed. The surrounding people exclaimed. In the next moment, the Devil Mountain domain and the Dragon Sword domain collided, and the entire void shook rapidly. A terrifying energy swept out in all directions. No. Damn it, how is this possible? Not long after, Dong Qianshan let out a cry of surprise, as if he was very frightened. What? What happened? Hearing this voice, everyone looked over. Then their eyes widened. They could not believe it. This was because Dong Qianshan's Devil Mountain domain was now full of holes, pierced by countless sharp swords. It was on the verge of collapse, as if it would collapse at any time. How is this possible? Dong Qianshan's king domain was defeated? How is this possible? Everyone's scalp went numb, and they could not believe it. It should be known that that was a 3-star king's domain, which was far more powerful than a 1-star king's domain. Now it had been pierced, and was even about to explode. This was completely beyond everyone's understanding. Lin Xian sneered. 3-star king? Devil Mountain domain? Your pride? You can't even withstand a single blow. This was a slap in the face, and Dong Qianshan could not even fight back. Kid, I'll remember you. Just you wait. Dong Qianshan's face was terrifyingly gloomy, but he did not dare to fight anymore. So he turned around and fled. His figure flashed, and he turned into a shocking demonic aura, rushed into the sky, and disappeared. What? He escaped. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned. It was as if they were dreaming. A dignified 3-star king had actually fled? What a piece of trash. Lin Xian looked at the fleeing figure and sneered. This kind of trash was not worthy of his attack. After putting away the Dragon Sword domain, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon also left. Only the stunned crowd was left behind. They were too shocked. That was Dong Qianshan, the genius of the Dong family. Originally, he was incomparably arrogant, and he did not take anyone seriously. However, they did not expect that in the end, he would escape in a sorry state. The contrast between before and after was truly ironic. Chapter 1528. However, what shocked them even more was Lin Xian's identity. Who exactly was he? What kind of person could be so powerful that he could send a 3-star king running away? They didn't know, but they knew that the Dashuan Empire would soon undergo a great change. Lin Xian left the Tsangyue Plaza and flew towards the Dashuan Empire's imperial city with the dark red dragon. This time there were only the two of them left. Of course, there was also He Tu, who was beside Lin Xian. As for Morong Qingqing and the others, they had already joined powerful holy lands to cultivate. Lin Xian didn't need to worry about their safety, because from the previous performance, even if Morong Qingqing and the others joined the sacred grounds, they would still receive special treatment. Sacred grounds? Lin Xian muttered, his eyes shining. He knew that if he wanted to become a great emperor, he would have to fight with the geniuses of the sacred grounds. Just as Lin Xian and the dark red dragon were heading towards the imperial city, Dong Qianshan's disappearance was like a gust of wind that swept through the entire Dashuan Empire. What shocked everyone was that the person who defeated Dong Qianshan was only a 1-star king. Not only that, but it was also said that the 1-star king was also going to participate in the martial arts conference. However, he wasn't one of the third prince's men, but one of Princess Kaidai's men. Dong Qianshan was one of the third prince's men. Not only that, but he was also one of the top 10 warriors under the third prince. The third prince's prestige was also one of the strongest among all the princes and princesses. But now, The genius warrior under the third prince was defeated by a one-star king under Princess Kaidai's men. This was simply too shocking. For a moment, everyone was guessing where Princess Kaidai had found such a miraculous young man. The Dong family was one of the first-rate families in the Dachshund Empire. The atmosphere was a little gloomy because their genius warrior, Dong Qianshan, had been defeated. Moreover, everyone knew about this. This made them lose a great deal of face. However, at this moment, a figure appeared above the Dong family. This figure was strolling in the air, as if he was having fun. He didn't put the Dong family in his eyes at all. Not only that, but in the end he sat down above the Dong family. This was a young warrior with a bald head and cold face. He was covered in a black robe, and emitted a gloomy aura. This bald youth sat directly above the Dong family. Then, as if he was petrified, this strange scene naturally attracted the attention of the Dong family's warriors. Immediately they were all enraged. This was because no one had ever dared to behave atrociously in front of the Dong family. But now, someone was sitting above them without any scruples. This made them was infuriated. However, when they saw the figure above them again, they were all stunned. After all, his aura wasn't any weaker than the Dong clan's genius, Dong Qianshan. In fact, he might even be stronger. The Dong family was also a first-rate family. They would never allow anyone to provoke them. Therefore, soon some warriors stepped forward and wanted to attack. However, at this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from afar. A few more mysterious figures descended. 3 figures were like ghosts. They released powerful auras, and arrived above the Dong family. Then they slowly sat down. They didn't say anything, but their figures were like mountains that pressed down on everyone's heads, making it difficult for them to breathe. The people of the Dong family were stunned by this scene. Even those who were attacking stopped in their tracks, their eyes flickering with uncertainty. They felt that the situation was a little strange. They had to inform the Dong family's young master. Therefore, someone quickly went to report to the family. However, not long after, another voice came from afar. That figure's aura was even more powerful. He was like a fiend god, especially his arms. They were purplish-red and shone with a metallic luster. There were even sword and saber scars on his arms. At first glance, one could tell that he was a veteran. Perhaps no one knew this person, but his palms were very famous. Fiery Demon Palm. As for this young man, no one knew his original name. They only knew that he was called the Fiery Demon. The Fiery Demon was very powerful. He was definitely one of the top 3 subordinates of the third prince. It could be said that Dong Qianshan was far inferior to him. The Fiery Demon's appearance attracted everyone's attention. At this moment a voice drifted over. It seems that the third prince is very concerned about this matter. He even sent you the Fiery Demon. I wonder if Jiang Nantian will come? Impossible. He's the third prince's #1 expert. Why would he come here? It turned out that the mysterious figures in the sky were talking. At this moment, when they saw the Fiery Demon, they nodded slightly. However, their eyes were very serious. It was obvious that the Fiery Demon held a very high position in their hearts. The Fiery Demon also glanced around. Then he said in a low voice, "I didn't expect all of you to come." He had no choice. The impact of what happened yesterday was too great. By now, the entire Dachshund Empire knew about it. Naturally, he had to come and take a look. That's right. Dong Qianshan was actually defeated by a one-star king. It's really surprising. The third prince is very angry about what happened yesterday. If Dong Qianshan can't explain it clearly, he'll probably end up in a miserable state. I'm guessing that it must be the top 3 experts under Princess Kaidai. They hid their cultivation and came here to humiliate the third prince. Otherwise, it's impossible for others to do this. That makes sense. Hearing this, many people nodded slightly. Indeed, among all the princes, the third prince was the strongest. Princess Die was slightly weaker than the third prince. Although the third prince had many experts under him, those who could defeat Dong Qianshan so easily were at least the top 3 experts under him. However, at this moment another voice rang out. Not necessarily. Maybe Princess Kaidai found another expert this time. Whatever. This time, we must find Dong Qianshan and ask him. Okay, I'll call him. The bald young man who arrived first let out a grin, before his thunderous voice echoed in the surroundings. Dong Qianshan, we've been here for so long. Why haven't you appeared yet? Are your injuries that serious? Humph. Not long after, a cold snort came from below. Then, a figure quickly appeared in the sky like a ghost. This figure was naturally Dong Qianshan. At this moment, his face was somewhat pale, and his eyes were cold. It was obvious that he had suffered serious injuries. In addition, he had lost face. This had dealt a heavy blow to his mental state. Now that he saw these old acquaintances, his face naturally turned even uglier. Chapter 1529. Don't think too much. We're just here to ask about the person who defeated you, the bald young man said. Although they didn't show it, there was a trace of mockery on their faces. Obviously, they were disdainful of Dong Qianshan's defeat, especially at the hands of a one-star king. Humph. That kid is called Lin Xian. I don't know where he's from. However, the aura he released is indeed that of a one-star king, but his strength has surpassed that of a three-star king. You don't have to mock me. If you don't believe me, you can challenge him and see if he's as powerful as the rumors say. What? He's really only a one-star king? Hearing this, everyone's expression became strange. As for the bald youth from before, the corner of his mouth revealed a trace of disdain. He's really a one-star king. I say, Dong Qianshan, you're really regressing. You actually lost to a one-star king. I really don't know how someone like you can become the third prince's subordinate. Don't be so arrogant. I can guarantee that you'll definitely lose if you fight with that person. Dong Qianshan stared at the bald young man with a cold expression. Then he continued in a cold voice. Since you already know about that young man, there's no need for you to stay in my family. Gentlemen, please. After saying that, he waved his sleeve and ignored these people. His figure flickered and flew down. Although these people were investigating Lin Xian's whereabouts, they had undoubtedly opened up a scar in his heart. This made him very unhappy. Alright, let's go and meet that guy called Lin Xian. Let's see if he's as powerful as the rumors say. Or is someone so useless that he can't even withstand a single blow? Then, the bald young man laughed loudly 3 times. Then, his body rose from the ground and rushed into the sky like a stream of light. The figures of the other few people also swayed and disappeared into the sky. Of course, they didn't know where Lin Xian was, but they could guess that since he was invited by Princess Kai Dai, he must be participating in the martial arts conference. The martial arts conference was held in the imperial city of the Dashuan Empire. Therefore, they only needed to head to the imperial city. These people turned into streaks of light, with ferocious smiles on their faces, and quickly rushed towards the imperial city. The imperial city was the most prosperous city in the Dashuan Empire. The area it occupied was as large as a small country. One could only imagine how prosperous the imperial city was. Half a month later, Lin Xian arrived at the bustling royal city. Along the way, he heard news about himself everywhere. However, no one came to bother him. The reason was very simple. Not many people had actually seen him before. Most of them had only heard about him from rumors. However, along the way, he also learned about the current situation of the Dashuan Empire. Within the Dashuan Empire, the power of the clans had reached an unimaginable height. Among them, the most powerful family was the royal family of the Dashuan Empire, the Yuan family. And this martial arts conference was held by the Yuan family for these princes and princesses. Among these princes and princesses, the first prince and the third prince were the strongest, and were in the first echelon. The second echelon consisted of Princess Kai Dai, the 7th prince and the 4th prince. In addition, there were also the 3rd and 4th echelons. However, these princes were relatively weak, so Lin Xian did not pay attention to them. Lin Xian was very curious about this Princess Kai Dai, because among so many experts, most of them were princes, and only one was a princess. One could imagine that she must be a very outstanding talent. Otherwise, it would be impossible for her to be in the 2nd echelon among so many princes. After arriving at the imperial city, Lin Xian did not go to the princess mansion. Instead, he strolled around and experienced the prosperity of the Dashuan Empire's imperial city. Fengyue Brothel was a very famous restaurant in the imperial city. Here, genius warriors from various aristocratic families could often be seen. Sometimes even princes could be seen. It could be said that this was one of the most lively places in the imperial city. Lin Xian entered the Fengyue Brothel and ordered a pot of good wine and a few exquisite dishes. Then, he sat by the window and slowly tasted the wine. During this time, a few disciples from aristocratic families were talking loudly. The news they were talking about was very strange. It was all some strange news in the eastern wilderness. It could not be helped. The eastern wilderness was too mysterious. There were many powerful warriors who were like gods and demons. Did you know? It's said that an ancient tomb was dug up not long ago. It seems to be the cave of an expert from ancient times. It alarmed the clans of the ancients and the peerless sacred grounds. I heard about it too. It's said that an incredible treasure appeared and was obtained by the Yi family in the end. I don't think so. Both the Jade Lake Sacred Ground and the Purple Dawn Sacred Ground are incomparably terrifying. Even if the Yi family is a clan of the ancients, they can't stop the other provinces from joining forces with the Time Sacred Ground. Right? Who knows? Anyway, it's all about the clans of the ancients and the peerless sacred grounds. The others can't get it at all. Yeah, and the Yi family is very terrifying. Back then, Emperor Yi single-handedly dominated the ancient times and suppressed the 9 heavens and 10 lands. He can be said to be extremely powerful. I'm afraid that even among the great emperors, he's a very powerful existence. These people discussed animatedly. Most of them were talking about the rumors. However, this kind of new secret rumor was hard for ordinary people to hear. Therefore, All the warriors in the restaurant listened with great interest. Even Lin Xian was very curious. Emperor Yi? Is the Yi family one of the clans of the ancients? Lin Xian asked in a low voice. Yes, the Yi family is one of the clans of the ancients. They once had a great emperor called Emperor Yi. It's said that he's very terrifying. Even among the great emperors, he's a very powerful existence. He Tu said in a deep voice. The dark red divine dragon was drooling. Damn, what kind of treasure did they dig up? Even the clans of the ancients and the sacred grounds were alarmed? It must be a shocking treasure. Damn, I want to go too. The dark red divine dragon was a restless person. Naturally, he was drooling over such a good thing. He Tu ruthlessly attacked. You're not even enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. I reckon that the aftermath can blast you to death. If you ask me, it's more likely that the ancestors of you dragons are going. Lin Xian was also puzzled. Chapter 1530. Let's not talk about that. After all, the remote antiquity families and the peerless sanctuary are too far away from us. Let's talk about the internal affairs of the Dashuan Empire. Internal affairs? What's there to talk about? The only thing we can talk about is the upcoming martial arts conference. Hey, have you heard? It's said that a mysterious young man appeared at the Azure Moon Dojo and defeated Dong Qianshan in a very powerful manner. I heard about it too. It's said that the mysterious young man is only a one-star king. It's just a rumor. Don't take it seriously. That person must be hiding his strength. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to defeat a 3-star king. Unless he's one of those sanctuary geniuses. But why would those disciples from the sanctuary and remote antiquity families come to the Dashuan Empire to be Princess Kaidai's subordinate? So that person must be hiding his strength. Yeah, no matter how powerful he is, he only defeated Dong Qianshan. It's impossible for him to defeat all of the third prince's subordinates. Indeed, Dong Qianshan is only ranked 10th among the third prince's subordinates. No matter how strong that person is, he won't be able to make it into the top 5. It's impossible for Princess Kaidai to enter the first tier. Yeah, other than the first prince and the third prince, the others won't be able to enter the first tier. There are only a few people in the second tier. However, I heard that other than the disciples from the Dashuan Empire, there are also people from the surrounding countries, and even the islands who want to participate in the martial arts conference. What a bunch of idiots. Is the Dashuan Empire's martial arts conference that easy to participate in? Those people are just frogs at the bottom of a well. They're delusional to think that they can amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. They're really courting death. The group of people joked and laughed. Humph. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the side. Just a few stubborn disciples from the aristocratic families. How dare they talk nonsense here? What a joke. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed, and they all turned their heads to look. They saw a black-clothed young man sitting not far away. His expression was extremely cold. The cold words from before were spoken by him. However, a few well-dressed young masters of aristocratic families, sitting in the center, only glanced at him coldly. Then they ignored him. They ignored him as if he was air. Then they started chatting and laughing again. Actually, there are many aspects to this matter. Although the martial arts of these countries are not good, that woman is very beautiful. Some of them are even famous throughout the world. Now that you mention it, I remember. It is said that there were 3 exceptional beauties in the Azure Moon Plaza. 2 of them entered the sacred land, and the last one went somewhere unknown. But it shouldn't be too bad. Let's not think about entering the Holy Land. I can consider the beauties from the nearby countries. It's their good fortune that they married into the aristocratic families of the Dashuan Empire. I heard that in Jinju country, there's a beauty called Jade Beauty. I wonder if she came this time. Aya, who wants to sleep with that kind of beauty for a night? Am willing to spend any amount of money. The few of them chatted and laughed, completely ignoring the surrounding countries. Humph. Jinju country Li Fong, come to ask for advice. I'd like to see what you hedonistic sons have to be so arrogant about. The young man in black who snorted previously stood up again, his eyes full of killing intent. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed. They did not expect this young man to be a warrior from Jinju country. No wonder he was so angry before. Who do you think you are? Are you worthy of fighting with us? The aristocratic family disciples sneered disdainfully. Whether I'm worthy or not, you'll know after you try. Li Fang's voice was cold. Then he waved his arm, and a golden light quickly slashed forward. Whoosh! Everyone exclaimed. They did not expect that the other party would really dare to fight here. However, the aristocratic family disciples in the field were even more disdainful. Someone like you actually dares to fight us? You're really courting death. Among them, one of the aristocratic family disciples snorted. Then, without looking back, he waved his palm. Suddenly, a ball of green flame flew out quickly and collided with the golden saber light. The next moment, the golden light was burned clean. Not only that, the green flame instantly shrouded the warrior in black. Then, it emitted a bright light and burned him into a bloody mist. Whoosh! Whoosh! In just a moment, the warrior in black was burned clean. Even the bloody mist in the air disappeared. Nothing was left. What? So powerful? When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, their eyes widened in disbelief. Even Lin Xian revealed a trace of bewilderment. He realized that although these aristocratic family disciples were arrogant, they were indeed very powerful. After killing the warrior in black with one palm, the young man in luxurious clothes laughed. I really didn't want to fight, but that guy was too arrogant. He dared to provoke us, so I could only kill him. Hee, that kind of trash. So what if he dies? But Zhou Tian, the power of your blue sky fire has increased a lot, right? Looking at it, you should have reached the level of a 3-star king, right? That's right. With this flame, I'm afraid even a 3-star king would not dare to provoke you. The warriors from the surrounding countries are really idiots. How dare they compete with Zhou Tian? As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the entire restaurant became tense. This was because there were warriors from all over the world in this restaurant. Many of them were from other countries. When they heard these words, they were naturally angry. Lin Xian did not care because his vision was very broad now. Although the young man who attacked before was powerful, he was still inferior to Dong Qianshan. Even Dong Qianshan was not his opponent, not to mention these people. Therefore, he did not care about these people's words. He was just trying to get information that was useful to him. However, the same could not be said for the others. Some of the people in the private rooms were from the surrounding countries. They were all elites. When had they ever been ridiculed? Naturally, their faces were gloomy. Especially the warriors from the Jinju country. Their faces were terrifyingly dark. Although they did not know the warrior in black, he was still a member of the Jinju country. But he was killed in such a way. He did not put the Jinju country in his eyes at all. Therefore, for a moment, many experts from the Jinju country released their terrifying killing intent. However, these aristocratic family disciples did not care at all. They even sneered. I don't care which country you're from. Since you've come to the imperial city of the Dashuan Empire, if you're a dragon, you'd better lie down. If you're a tiger, you'd better lie down. Chapter 1531. I'm Han Kuan from Jinju country. A tall and sturdy young man stood up and walked over with large strides. His body exuded a terrifying aura, like a demonic mountain, causing the entire void to tremble rapidly. However, at this time, a beautiful little maid blocked his way. My master invites you to have tea. I'll let you be proud for a while. In a while, I'll let you know the power of Jinju country. Han Kuan snorted and followed the little maid into a private room. Hey, you really don't know life from death. If someone hadn't stopped you, I'm afraid you'd be a dead man now. Several disciples from influential families sneered. Do these countries really think that there are experts? No, to be exact, there should be one, or 1.5. One of the disciples from influential families said in a deep voice. There's actually another person. Why didn't I know? Who is it? Demonic Blade Ren Tianya. Demonic Blade? You mean him? Hearing this, several disciples from influential families nodded slightly. He could indeed be considered an expert. I also heard that his blade technique is very fast. No one could see him make a move. Anyone who saw him draw his blade is already dead. But speaking of which, no one knows where he came from, so he can't be considered as a person from the surrounding countries. That's right, several people nodded in agreement. However, someone asked, "Who's the other half?" It's the mysterious young man who defeated Dong Qianshan in Songyue Square. Although I don't know where he came from, he should be considered as half an expert. Not bad, to be able to defeat Dong Qianshan. He's indeed an expert. I didn't expect that the surrounding countries only had 1.5 experts. However, it's not certain whether these two people are from these countries. It seems that our Dashuan Empire is still the most powerful. There are so many outstanding people. Hearing this, the martial practitioners of the Great Xian Empire all laughed, whereas the martial practitioners from the surrounding countries all had gloomy expressions. Being ridiculed in public, they naturally lost face. Moreover, many people were furious. However, the methods used by the disciples from influential families were too terrifying. These people were not ignorant and incompetent stubborn disciples, but powerful disciples of aristocratic families. Therefore, they had the right to be arrogant. If Ren Tianya was here, they definitely wouldn't dare to be arrogant. Several martial artists from the neighboring countries gritted their teeth. Ren Tianya was a very valiant martial artist. He was very famous for his swift saber moves. No one had seen him make a move. Anyone who had seen him draw his saber had been killed. No one knew which country he came from, but it was said that he often appeared in the surrounding countries. If that mysterious expert was here, these people wouldn't dare to act like this. The mysterious powerhouse they spoke of was naturally Lin Xian. Ever since Lin Xian had injured Dong Qianshan last time, it could be said that his reputation had spread. Now, everyone knew that such an existence existed. However, what they didn't know was that Lin Xian was currently in the Wind Moon restaurant. In another private room, the tall Han Kuan sat there with an extremely solemn expression. He looked at the martial artists opposite him and slowly said, "Thank you for your good intentions, but that guy is really too hateful. He actually dared to humiliate my Jinju country in public. Therefore, this battle must go on no matter what." At this moment, sitting opposite Han Kuan were several martial artists. They were all young and did not exceed 30 years old. Among them, there was a woman who was very beautiful. Her delicate face looked as if it was carved out of jade. Not only that, that pair of bright and beautiful eyes were full of spirituality. As they moved, they seemed to be able to speak. This beautiful woman was the legendary Jade Beauty of Jinju country. Beside her, there were also a few people sitting. However, the one closest to her was a handsome young man. Between his eyebrows, there was a vigorous vitality. This person was her brother. Previously, it was this brother and sister pair who invited Han Kuan over and prevented him from fighting with those disciples of aristocratic families. However, now it seemed that Han Kuan was very insistent on fighting with the other party. Therefore, everyone sighed. To be honest, they were also very angry, especially Jade Beauty, whose face was solemn, because previously, those disciples of aristocratic families were very frivolous in their words. However, they did not dare to act rashly, because the strength displayed by those disciples of aristocratic families was very powerful. Their combat strength was definitely at the level of a 3-star king. In fact, they were even stronger. Moreover, as a disciple of an aristocratic family of the Dashuan Empire, the other party must have a lot of powerful martial arts in his hands. Therefore, they did not dare to act rashly. However, Han Kuan shook his head. He was very violent and naturally would not allow others to provoke him, not to mention such a public humiliation. Therefore, he thanked Jade Beauty and her brother again, and then strode out of the private room. "I'm back. Today, I'll have a taste of what qualifications you have to be so arrogant." Han Kuan strode over. Light flowed around his body, carrying a powerful aura. His palms seemed to have turned into metal, carrying a cold light. He grabbed the air, grabbed a chair around him, and then threw it forward. Originally, it was just an ordinary chair, but now, its surface was covered with a layer of metallic luster. It seemed to have turned into a divine weapon, sharp and unstoppable. Even the entire void began to tremble rapidly. What? What kind of technique is this? The surrounding people exclaimed. They also noticed this change. However, the disciples of the aristocratic families in the center sneered. Among them, Zhou Tian snorted and then waved his hand. Suddenly, a ball of green flame quickly floated out and collided with the metallized chair. Chi-chi. Then the sound of collision was heard. As if ice and snow were melting, the chair instantly turned into a pool of molten iron and fell to the ground. You dare to make a fool of yourself with such petty tricks? Zhou Tian sneered. The surrounding people were shocked. The chair just now had turned into a divine weapon. Its power was even more terrifying than a top spirit-grade treasure. However, under the green flame, it could not resist at all and was turned into molten iron. This green flame was too terrifying, wasn't it? The other disciples of the aristocratic families were also surprised. Zhou Tian, why do I feel that you have entered the realm of a 3-star king? The green flame was incomparably mysterious. It dyed the entire sky green. Han Kun's face was cold. He said coldly, "Today, I will show you the power of my Jinju country." Chapter 1532. In the next moment his body swayed, and like a phantom he charged forward. In an instant, he was in front of Zhou Tian, and his terrifying palm slammed down. The cold sound of metal clashing against metal could be heard as the palm slammed down. Like a sudden clap of thunder, it exploded in the surroundings. Immediately, all the martial artists in the Fengyue brothel looked over. This palm was too terrifying. No one below the level of a 3-star king could withstand it. However, Zhou Tian sneered with a calm expression. His body swayed, and he turned into countless green lights, disappearing from the spot. Since you want to fight, I'll play with you. However, let's not fight in the Fengyue brothel. Otherwise, I can't afford to pay for the damage. As he spoke, he had already arrived in the sky outside. It seemed that the background of the Fengyue brothel was not simple. Even Zhou Tian did not dare to offend them. It's the same everywhere. Han Kun shouted coldly. His body swayed, and he flew out as well. It was obvious that there were hundreds of golden rays of light revolving around him at high speed. The terrifying golden lights seemed to be tearing the sky apart, emitting an extremely terrifying aura. A golden armor seemed to have formed on his body, emitting a mysterious power as he charged toward Zhou Tian. Zhou Tian sneered. His body moved like a phantom, moving rapidly in the air, leaving behind countless afterimages. This was a very mysterious footwork, and he quickly dodged the golden lights that Han Kun shot out. His movements were extremely elegant, as if he was on a scenic tour. Haha, too slow. Watch my counterattack. Zhou Tian sneered, then waved his hand. Suddenly, green lights surged rapidly, filling the surroundings and charged toward Han Kun. These green flames were too terrifying. They were like the flames of hell, able to melt everything. Even weapons below the level of earth-rank treasures could not withstand this heat. Clearly, this was Zhou Tian's origin source flame, and he had refined it to a terrifying level. Boom! In the next moment, Han Kun's expression changed drastically. This was because he realized that the green flames had entered his golden domain. Some of the golden lights were even melted by the green flames. Damn it! Han Kun's face darkened. He did not expect to be at a disadvantage in an instant, and this made him extremely shocked. What made him even more shocked was the green flames. Clearly, his opponent's cultivation was only a late-stage 2-star king, while he was a true 3-star king. However, his opponent's green flames were able to pose a threat to him. This was too shocking. When the crowd saw this scene, they cried out in surprise. At the same time, the genius martial artists from the surrounding countries walked out from their private rooms. Among them, the Jade Beauty and her brother. They realized that their opponent was too mysterious and too powerful. The green flames, in particular, made them feel a sense of trepidation. Ascend to heaven and descend to hell. Zhou Tian's expression became even more smug when he saw that all the genius martial artists from various countries had come to watch the battle. A green domain assisted at the same time. The green domain quickly churned, and a green palace quickly formed. It's of the Zhou SS heavens Tions of the heavens. As soon as it appeared, a green light covered the entire sky, and even Han Kun's king's domain started to burn. This scene was simply too terrifying. Han Kun saw that he was a 3-star king, and his king domain was extremely terrifying. However, at that moment it was actually burning. This caused everyone to be extremely shocked. Even Lin Xian was surprised. His eyes flickered as he looked up at the sky. At this moment, the green palace in the sky was incomparably mysterious and was emitting a brilliant light. Countless green flames were burning fiercely on it, as if it was an immortal palace. Not good. I'm afraid this is an extremely terrifying secret technique from the Dashuan Empire. That green flame looks like the blue sky fire. He had heard that these flames were extremely frightening when they descended from the heavens. To think that this young man would possess such a mysterious flame. The Jade siblings frowned. Obviously, they had also heard of this flame. Then they quickly sent a voice transmission. "Brother Han, please stop. Those flames are too terrifying. There's no need to continue fighting." Indeed, they were extremely worried about Han Kun's safety. On the other hand, Han Kun's face was gloomy. He looked to the front and suddenly cried out, "Gold domain kill." In the next moment, the gold domain around Han Kun emitted a brilliant light. Then, streaks of terrifying golden light shot up into the sky and swept across the land. They were like swords, sabers, and spears that quickly filled the entire sky. In an instant, the entire space was completely covered by the golden light, and the surrounding space started to tremble. This aura was so powerful that it even caused all the martial artists to tremble. Cracks appeared in many places in the sky. It was simply unable to withstand this aura. Bang! Bang! The incomparably mysterious green palace bloomed and violently collided with the golden light in the sky. Black cracks appeared like an abyss. It was extremely terrifying. The scene was too terrifying. In an instant, many of the golden light were burned to ashes. However, there were even more golden rays of light that blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they charged forward. Blue sky palm. Zhou Tian sneered and waved his palm. Suddenly, the green palace behind him surged rapidly, and a huge hand that was burning with green flames reached out from the palace. It was like the palm of a demon, and it quickly blasted forward. Bang! 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 The green flame palm was too terrifying. As soon as it appeared, it caused a large patch of golden light to disappear. Black holes appeared in the void one after another. In an instant, the golden light was destroyed, and the green palm quickly attacked Han Kun. That terrifying palm wind and flames were already about to burn Han Kun. Feeling the terrifying energy, Han Kun's face changed again. He had no choice but to retreat quickly. Like a streak of golden light, he instantly retreated into the distance. "Humph! You want to fight with this young master with your little tricks? You're overestimating yourself." Zhou Tian sneered. The few disciples from the aristocratic families who came with him also laughed at the sky. Their voices were filled with mockery. "Brother Zhou, I have to say that you're too surprising. Although you're only a late-stage 2-star king, your blue sky flames are too terrifying. I'm afraid that even 3-star kings are no match for you." "So you're saying that you're from Fire Cloud Country? I heard that Fire Cloud Country has a very powerful earth fire. Today I'll see for myself if it's as rumored." You'll see for yourself." Chapter 1534. It was an extremely ordinary youth, but his body was glowing with a red light. At the same time, a terrifying heat wave spread out, causing the surrounding space to distort. The earth flame was a terrifying underground flame. It was extremely rare. It was very famous in the nearby countries. Thus, when the red-clothed youth appeared, the surrounding cultivators all held their breaths and carefully watched. At the same time, they hoped that this youth would be able to defeat these arrogant aristocratic family disciples and help them vent their anger. "Sky palm." Zhou Tian snorted coldly, and immediately 2 large green palms shot out, covering the sky as if they wanted to tear the sky apart. As for the youth from the Fire Cloud Nation, he also let out a long roar, and his body emitted a fiery red light. A huge red python appeared around him, quickly forming a fiery red domain. Earth Flame Domain. This was a domain formed from boundless earth flames. It was extremely terrifying, and just the aura caused the surrounding people to pale. To the side, Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and carefully observed. He discovered that this true spirit world was truly amazing. The domains of these cultivators were too mysterious, and even he was surprised. It seemed that the martial Tao of this true spirit world was countless times stronger than that of the Tianwu continent. However, in the face of so many geniuses, Lin Xian's expression was calm. That was because he was extremely confident in himself. He knew that with his talent and strength, he wouldn't lose to any of them. Thus, at this moment, he slowly raised his wine cup and savored the wine as he watched the battle. It was as if everything around him had nothing to do with him. Unfortunately, everyone was focused on the battle and no one saw it. If someone were to watch carefully, they would definitely be shocked. That was because at this moment, Lin Xian was surrounded by a formless energy that caused the shockwaves of the battle to be unable to approach him. It could be said that wherever he said he was, it was an absolute safe zone. Everywhere outside of him was filled with berserk energy. The surrounding cultivators had no choice but to activate their armors and king domains to defend themselves. Otherwise, they would be roasted into a bloody mist by the terrifying heat. Earth Flame, burn all things. Facing the terrifying green palm, the youth from the Fire Cloud Nation also counterattacked. He snorted coldly. Then, balls of fiery red light gushed out from his body, forming an endless sea of red flames that burned in all directions. Then he threw out a punch. Suddenly, the earthly fire domain sect also trembled rapidly, forming an incomparably huge fist that violently slammed forward. It was as if the sky was about to be torn apart. In the next moment, the two different flames collided with each other, emitting an earth-shattering sound of collision. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Everyone was incomparably nervous, because this battle concerned whether or not they could continue to stay here. If the youth from the Flaming Cloud Nation lost, then all of them would be thrown out by the disciples of these aristocratic families. At that time, they would definitely lose all face and be too ashamed to face anyone. In the sky, the red flames collided with the green flames, instantly covering half of the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Then, the warriors from the surrounding countries began to sneer. I originally thought that the aristocratic families of the Daxian country had some powerful methods. I didn't expect him to be so weak. Looks like stubborn disciples are stubborn disciples, who only know how to talk big. That's right. You want to chase all of us away? Dream on. How laughable. Do you really think that you can ignore everything just because you're from the Dashuan Empire? Is this the power of an aristocratic family disciple? That's all there is to it. A group of people mocked and ridiculed. It was obvious that they were already very dissatisfied with these aristocratic family disciples. But they didn't dare to say it before. Now that they saw that someone could resist the blue sky fire, they immediately began to mock and ridicule. On the other hand, the aristocratic family disciples had cold smiles on their faces. Zhou Tian even snorted coldly, then quickly waved his arm. The green palace quickly flew out, following his movements and blasting forward. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the green palace emitted an incomparably bright light, directly tearing the red flames apart. Then it violently slammed into the young man from the Fire Cloud Nation. Boom! As if struck by lightning, the youth from the Flaming Shadow Nation spat out large mouthfuls of blood and flew backward. The red flames that filled the sky also disappeared in an instant. What? He lost. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. As for the warriors from the surrounding countries, their faces turned pale in disbelief. Lost? How could he have lost? Weren't they evenly matched just now? What happened? How could he lose in an instant? They really couldn't understand, and all of them looked desperate. On the other hand, the aristocratic family disciples laughed loudly. How could Zhou Tian lose to someone else? Now it seems that he was indeed hiding his strength. Of course, I just wanted to play with him. But now I'm not in the mood. Zhou Tian also sneered. What? Hiding his strength? How could he still be hiding his strength? How strong is he? When the warriors from the surrounding countries heard this, their faces turned pale. They didn't dare to imagine what kind of strength the other party had. However, Zhou Tian sneered. All right everyone, we're going to have a heart-to-heart talk with the two beauties. Those who have nothing to do with it should leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Don't be so arrogant. I'll do it. The Jade Bowtie's brother roared and took a step forward. His body emitted an extremely terrifying energy. At the same time, the surrounding warriors also had ferocious expressions on their faces. The auras from their bodies were linked together, as if they were going to collapse the entire sky. In an instant, the aura of energy swept through the entire void. In fact, there were even cracks appearing in many places. What? You want to fight? Zhou Tian sneered. The other aristocratic family disciples also snorted coldly. Then, they stood together and displayed their king's domain. Suddenly, a monstrous and terrifying aura spread out. It was as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on the sky. Immediately, the surrounding warriors were all pushed back. What? They're so strong. How is that possible? How can they be so strong? The warriors from the surrounding countries shook their heads frantically. They couldn't believe it. They were too strong. There were only 5 of them. But the aura they emitted was more terrifying than the dozens of people on their side. It was as if a wild beast was looking down on them. That made them feel a sense of despair in their hearts. Stubborn. Since you're courting death, don't blame me for being rude. Zhou Tian snorted coldly and waved his large black palm. Immediately, the few cultivators in the vicinity were all sent flying. In an instant, more than 10 warriors were sent flying and left the Fengyue brothel. Chapter 1535. However, the surrounding disciples of the aristocratic families also quickly took action and threw all these people out. Don't do it. We'll leave on our own. Soon, the native warriors of the Dashuan Empire quickly left. The warriors of the surrounding countries were also mercilessly thrown out. The Wind Moon Tavern, which was originally packed with people, was now much less crowded, leaving behind countless empty spaces. Damn it! The young man from the Fire Cloud Nation roared. He wanted to fight back, but he was once again sent flying by the green flame. I can't accept this. Han Kuan also roared. He used his metal domain and attacked again. In the end, he was sent flying by a disciple of an aristocratic family. Damn it! How dare you touch my sister? I'll fight you to the death. The handsome young man went crazy, but he was mercilessly thrown out by a disciple of an aristocratic family. In an instant, only Jade Beauty and Bai Yuran were left in the Wind Moon restaurant. Their faces were pale. They wanted to escape, but they were held in place by an invisible force and could not move at all. Okay, we've finally thrown away those annoying ants. Now we can have a good talk. The disciples of the aristocratic families laughed and walked forward. But soon, they frowned, and a trace of coldness appeared in their eyes. Because they realized that there was a figure sitting by the window. Zhou Tian and the others realized that there was a person sitting by the window. They were extremely surprised because they did not expect that there would be someone who dared to be here. Moreover, they had not noticed before. Immediately, the faces of the disciples of the aristocratic families darkened. One of them said coldly, "Are you deaf? Why are you still here? Get out of here." However, the figure in the distance did not move. He continued to lean against the window and drink alone. Seeing this scene, several people frowned. Even Jade Beauty and Bai Yuran were puzzled. They did not expect that there would be someone who dared to be here. Could it be that this person is an expert? A glimmer of hope rose in their hearts. But soon they laughed bitterly, because they realized that the other party's aura was pitifully weak. He had just entered the king realm. How could such a person be an expert? With a sigh, the two of them could not help but worry about that figure. The face of the disciple of the aristocratic family, who had scolded him earlier, also darkened. He didn't expect that the other party would dare to ignore him. This made him furious. A moment later, he laughed viciously and shouted coldly. This time, the voice contained an incomparably powerful energy that rushed forward. Since you want to die, It'll fulfill your wish. His voice turned into a murderous sound wave that quickly blasted forward. This sound wave was extremely terrifying. Even a 2-star King Realm expert would not be able to block it, let alone the figure in front of him. Ah! Jade Beauty and Bayuran cried out in surprise, while the disciples of the aristocratic family sneered. Anyone who dared to go against them would definitely end up in a miserable state. However, in the next moment, all of them widened their eyes. That was because that terrifying sound wave surged forward, but it suddenly disappeared, like a stone sinking into the sea. What's going on? It didn't work. The disciples of the aristocratic families all frowned. As for the person who had attacked earlier, he had a gloomy expression. Impossible, how could I have failed? Brat, who are you? How did you dodge my attack? As an expert, it was impossible for him to miss, so the other party must have used some unknown method to dodge his attack. The figure sitting in front was naturally Lin Xian. Previously, when these disciples of the aristocratic families were fighting with the warriors from the surrounding countries, he had only watched without any intention of interfering. Because these things had nothing to do with him. However, just because he didn't cause trouble didn't mean that he was afraid of trouble. Later, these disciples of the aristocratic families chased everyone out of Wind Moon Restaurant, which undoubtedly made him unhappy. After all, he was also drinking in Wind Moon Restaurant. Now the other party was even more aggressive and wanted to attack him. How could he tolerate that? In the next moment, Lin Xian frowned and said coldly, "Why? Is it very difficult to dodge your attack?" Although his voice was steady, it contained a trace of disdain. It was as if dodging that murderous sound wave was an extremely ordinary thing. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? Do you know who I am? The disciple of the aristocratic family had a gloomy expression, and his voice was cold and murderous. Who you are has nothing to do with me. As long as you don't disturb me while I'm drinking, I won't attack you, Lin Xian said slowly. What? You still want to attack me? When the disciples of the aristocratic families heard that, they were so angry that they laughed. Good, good, good. Kid, looks like the warning I gave you just now wasn't enough. What? Do you want me to break your legs personally and make you crawl here? Only then will you be afraid, right? Why waste time talking to him? Just break his legs and throw him out. Don't waste our time here. Yeah, don't you see the 2 beauties beside him waiting anxiously? Ha 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 ha, kid. You don't know what's good for you. Consider yourself unlucky to be in our line of fire. In my opinion, there's no need to throw you out. It'll save us a lot of trouble if we just kill you. Alright, I'll do it. I'll burn him to ashes. That way, nothing will be left, and we won't be disturbed. Zhou Tian said casually. Then he struck out with his palm. To be honest, he did not care about Lin Xian at all, because he had already checked earlier on. Lin Xian was only a 1-star king. This kind of cultivation did not interest him at all. After all, even a 3-star king might not be a match for him, much less a 1-star king. In the next moment, a green flame flew out from between his fingers and quickly floated toward Lin Xian. When they saw the green flame, Jade Beauty and Bayuran screamed again. This was not the first time the green flame had appeared, and each time, it displayed great power. When the assassin used it again, the other party would not be able to resist. They were not the only ones. The surrounding ancient martial art practitioners also cried out in alarm, because although those ancient martial art practitioners had been sent flying, they had not left. At that moment, they were all watching from the vicinity of Fengyue brothel. However, Zhou Tian and the others had set up an array around Fengyue brothel. They could only see the situation inside but could not enter. Even if they tried to break the array forcefully, they could not break it. Chapter 1536. But now, Zhou Tian had used the fire of Chu Bailuo again. This made them nervous again. The reason for that was because they knew that no one would be able to resist the flames. A green flame quickly floated out like a willow, the wisp, and instantly enveloped Lin Xian. The green light shone brightly. With just a little bit of strength, it could burn an expert to ashes. Lin Xian was still calm. Facing the terrifying fire of Chu Bailuo, he only turned his head slightly. Then a ball of black light appeared in his eyes. A ball of black flame appeared out of nowhere and blasted forward like a flood. It was very strange. What? He wants to resist. What an idiot. Doesn't he know the power of the fire of Chu Bai Luo? The disciples shook their heads and sneered. The surrounding martial artists also sighed. They knew that any method would be useless in front of the fire of Chu Bai Luo. Chi. In the next moment, the two balls of flames collided in the air. Then there was a flash of light, but no sound was heard. Then the two balls of flames disappeared in the air. What? He blocked it? How is that possible? Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. The disciples were even more shocked. They knew how powerful the fire of Chu Bai Luo was. Even a 3-star king couldn't resist it. But now Lin Xian had blocked it. No way, am I seeing things? He blocked the fire of Chu Bai Luo? What is that ball of black flame? How can it block the fire of Chu Bai Luo? Damn it, who is this kid? How did he do it? Cries of surprise rang out one after another. It was obvious that this scene had truly surprised everyone. This time, even Zhou Tian was anxious. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to resist his fire of Chu Bai Luo. The martial artists outside also widened their eyes in disbelief, as if they had seen a ghost. That was the fire of Chu Bai Luo. Even a 3-star king couldn't resist it. It was extremely terrifying and invincible. But now it was blocked by someone. Moreover, the one who blocked it was a 1-star king. This was too unbelievable. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian in bewilderment. No matter how they looked at him, he didn't look like a peerless expert. Could it be that this kid is hiding his cultivation? The faces of the disciples of the aristocratic families were also gloomy, while Zhou Tian sneered. Good, good, good. I didn't think that I would have misjudged you. You are also an expert. But let me tell you, that was just a casual attack. It's nothing if you can take it, but if you can take my next attack, then I'll be impressed. However, if you can't handle it, then you can only be killed. This is what you get for messing with me. As he spoke, his body flickered with light. Boundless blue sky flames flickered rapidly. Then, a gigantic flaming palm appeared in the wind. Its terrifying aura covered the sky and dyed the entire space green. Pung! The green flaming hand slapped towards Lin Xian. On the other hand, Lin Xian raised his finger. Countless black flames danced on the tip of his finger, forming a black longsword that quickly slashed forward. Boom! In the next moment, Bai Luo's palm collided with the black longsword, causing a terrifying tremor. These were two extremely terrifying flames. When they collided, the impact was even more frightening. Just the aftermath of the collision could probably destroy the entire Fengyue brothel. However, to everyone's surprise, the energy did not spread, and the Fengyue brothel remained unscathed. The reason was simple. Lin Xian and Zhou Tian's control of energy was extremely precise. Both of them fought within a controlled range, and did not cause any damage to the Fengyue brothel. How terrifying! Even the disciples of the aristocratic families were frowning. Not only did the other party possess the mysterious black flames that could compete with Zhou Tian's Bai Luo flames, but his control of energy was also no weaker than Zhou Tian's. Just based on these 2 points, the other party was definitely an expert. But who was this person? Why hadn't they seen him before? Zhou Tian's expression turned solemn when he saw this. Good, good, good. I didn't expect to meet an expert like you in the Fengyue brothel today. But don't be too smug. Next, I will show you my true strength, and let you know the true power of Bai Luo flames. If you can't block it, then die. As he spoke, countless black flames gathered to form a green palace. It looked like a celestial palace, and exuded a frightening energy. Thereafter, Zhou Tian activated the emerald green palace, and charged forward rapidly. Suddenly, a frightening energy exploded like a storm, howling and curling toward Lin Xian. Everyone's expression changed when they sensed this energy. Jade Beauty and Bai Yuran quickly retreated to a safe place. The disciples of the aristocratic families also looked solemn. This was because they had never seen Zhou Tian so serious before. Even when he fought with the warrior from Huiyun country, he was casual and calm. But now, it seemed that Zhou Tian was serious. Could it be that the youth opposite him was really so frightening? That Zhou Tian could take him seriously. The green palace was mysterious and flashed with an unparalleled energy that made everyone tremble. However, Lin Xian's expression remained calm. He quickly formed a seal with his palms, and a black demon beast quickly took shape. It was a black phoenix that exuded black flames all over its body. It was frightening. As Lin Xian pushed his palms out, the black phoenix roared and charged forward. He exuded a frightening energy fluctuation that made everyone tremble in fear. The black light shone and lit up the entire sky. The frightening black phoenix flew quickly in the sky like a real mythical beast. On the other side, Zhou Tian brought the frightening green palace and charged forward. In the next moment the two collided. Suddenly, a frightening energy explosion formed an energy storm that quickly spread in all directions. And a black hole appeared in the void. Countless cracks appeared on the mysterious green palace, as if it would collapse at any moment. Zhou Tian's face was pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backward. This energy was so frightening that it sent Zhou Tian flying. Not only that, but the two disciples of the aristocratic families who were standing at the front also suffered a heavy blow and flew backward. Their faces were extremely pale, and they looked terrified, because they did not expect that just the aftermath of the energy would send them flying. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded, especially the warriors outside. Their eyes were wide open, unable to believe what they were seeing. They did not expect the powerful Zhou Tian and the aristocratic family disciples to be sent flying in an instant. Chapter 1537. In the restaurant, Jade Beauty and Bayuran also widened their beautiful eyes. Their small mouths were agape, and they looked extremely shocked. They did not believe that someone could send Zhou Tian flying with one move. The remaining two martial artists from the aristocratic families looked very serious. Terrifying light burst from their eyes. They were like two long rainbows, trying to see through Lin Xian. At this moment everyone was stunned. Zhou Tian, who was so powerful, could not even withstand a single blow from the other party. This huge contrast made them unable to believe what they were seeing. What was even more shocking was that the other party was only a one-star king. So powerful. Who exactly is he? Outside, Han Kuan, the young man from Fire Cloud Nation, and Jade Bowtie's brother were all shocked. Zhou Tian did not seem to be from the Dashuan Empire. Could he be a martial artist from a neighboring country? But other than demonic saber Rentinya, who else could be so powerful? They could not figure it out. Lin Xian was expressionless. He said calmly, "I told you not to disturb me when I was drinking, but you didn't listen. Now you have a taste of your own medicine." With that, he shook his head slightly and ignored the crowd. He sat down again, picked up a cup of spirit wine, and drank it slowly. Shocking, it was too shocking. He sent Zhou Tian and the two disciples flying with one move, but it was as if it was the most normal thing. He looked calm, neither surprised nor happy. This was a true powerhouse. He could shock everyone with just a raise of his hand. Whoosh! On the other side, Zhou Tian and the two disciples quickly returned. They appeared in front of Lin Xian again like lightning. Zhou Tian's hair was disheveled, and his expression was ferocious. He asked coldly, "Damn it, who are you?" To be honest, he was indeed shocked. He did not believe that someone could send him flying with one move. Moreover, he was very confident in his blue sky fire. Even a 3-star king was no match for him. But now, the other party, a 1-star king, had sent him flying. He could not believe it. The two disciples from the aristocratic families were even more shocked. They were only swept by the aftershock. However, the shockwave still sent them flying. They couldn't accept this and glared fiercely at Lin Xian. "It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you don't bully others in the future. Otherwise, one day, your end will be even worse than now." Lin Xian glanced at the few of them and said plainly, "You're courting death." Zhou Tian roared furiously and quickly attacked. Being blasted away in public made him lose all face. So he could only kill the kid in front of him, to vent the hatred in his heart, and clear his name. The other two disciples from aristocratic families had the same thought. Thus at this moment they attacked together. The three disciples of the large families displayed unparalleled power, and instantly unleashed their king's domains, quickly killing Lin Xian. In an instant a terrifying light appeared. A biting cold murderous intent shrouded the world, and quickly locked onto Lin Xian. 3 kings' domains flew out and tore the void apart. Zhou Tian and the other 2 were extremely powerful. Even 3-star kings were no match for them. Now that they were attacking, they were even more terrifying. The entire void trembled violently. The expressions of those who were watching the battle from afar changed drastically, and they were extremely frightened. This was because they realized that this aura was enough to kill all of them. Not good. That person is in danger. In the outside world, Han Kun's face turned serious when he saw this scene. Damn it, those people are too shameless. How dare they gang up on one person? The youth from Flaming Cloud gritted his teeth and roared. This was because their opponent was too terrifying. Even if the 2 of them attacked again, they might not be able to take him down. Seeing the cautious look on their faces, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. You all can leave. I won't kill you. But remember, don't be so arrogant in the future. Then he waved his hand, and a green sword chi flew out, instantly shattering the defensive formation. Seeing this scene, the people outside were even more shocked. This formation could not be broken, even if all of them attacked together. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.